You're welcome. Good morning again. My name is Malti Tisaida. I work for the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and we're here for day 2 of the Pan-Africa Center for Climate Policies, a second Accra Conference on Environmental Education and Lifelong Learning 2026. So when you hear it, it's a long acronym, but EELL 2026. You see it on the giant screen. And the theme this morning and as of yesterday is Empowering Girls Through STEM for Environmental Solutions, Lifelong Learning as a Catalyst for Sustainable Change. I'll entreat you that we're in a very digital world, so please spread the word. Take a photo, take a selfie, put the hashtag EELL2026, post it on your LinkedIn or your social media. I usually tell young people that your job hunting starts now. From when you enter into school level 100, the job market has started for you. You need to start priming and propping yourself for the job market. And so make sure that you have accounts of it. You have, your footprint seen on your social media pages, among other things. Very, very important. But yesterday, we had very inspiring conversations, very thought-provoking ones. We saw the women who are the heart of agriculture, a very digital part of that agric economy, who have greenhouses, farms, among other things. And we also heard from the EPA about environmental sustainability protection. We heard from the Ghana Education Service about STEM in schools, and are they getting the right materials for the girls to be able to code, to do robotics, among other things. Primarily, are we getting to the 2030 SDG goals that we've set for ourselves, where there's a lot, zero hunger, equality, equity, all the co-mininis, right? And what are we doing strategically to get there? Because there's leave no one behind. And so we have to carry the girls along, a very, very important aspect of our growth as a country and as a continent. So I'm going to go around this morning. Just before we begin all the plenty English and the speeches, I want us to recap what happened yesterday. And there were people here that paid keen attention, were practically involved. Let me begin with Madam Awo Adam, and she'll tell us yesterday, Madam Awo, good morning to you, what you make of yesterday's conference, the conversations that happened, so that those who are not here will tell us what the expectations are.
I wasn't going to do this, but so essentially, yesterday we established the fact that it's important STEM is looked at in a comprehensive manner because it forms part of the basic actions of the home, the school, the community, and the nation as a whole. There were questions around why the flood and if people have thought through what the solutions could be like. And too many things came up. But as the politician will say, plans are far advanced from all that we discussed yesterday. That was the understanding. And I was thinking through, okay, to what extent have we thought through this intervention vis-a-vis the SDGs? Because if I want to look at it well enough, this is part of the SDGs. So agencies that are implementing or talking about SDGs should see how they could incorporate some of these interventions into it, just to be intentional at our environmental sustainability approach and get things going for the country as a whole. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Madam Awaiden. Please, let's give her a round of applause. At least she's kicked the ball rolling for us to understand what happened yesterday. I'll come to my big lecturer all the way from Nigeria. Good to see you again. Good morning.
Okay, thank you. I think 3 things that really resonated with me yesterday was one from the representative of some Dr. Ofori.
The ministry?
No, not the ministry. Okay. There was a young girl who made a presentation of when the rain doesn't come. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And then she showed how climate change can be linked to the mental health. I think that was one of the big things for me yesterday. And then Dr. Essien and the chairman, they came to a conclusion that really I could relate with, that education or lifelong learning shouldn't just be about learning to pass exams, but it should be about social innovation. That is essentially to translate knowledge to impact. So those are the things that really I'm taking back, among other things that I benefited from yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I know that you definitely contribute again. He's been keenly monitoring and came all the way from Nigeria for this all-important EEL 2026 conference. My big CEO and boss, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Abdul Mumin Ismail, an entrepreneur and a philanthropist. Yesterday was very important to me because something about the presentation on that girl the doctor just spoke about the mental health of kids or people in general when there are issues concerning like floods and natural disasters, and all relates to climate change. So if we are able to make sure that we inculcate STEM in our daily living to be able to curb all these climate change issues, we'll be able to go a long way to help people's mental health, which is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul Mumin. Thank you so much. Please, let's give them rounds of applause. Thank you so much. Why are you pointing? Okay, Bosun, how did yesterday go for you? A few words. Okay, I'll come back to you. I know you're new. You were not here yesterday, so I'll do expectations with you. But those who were here yesterday, I think that's all the round of those who were here yesterday. So, sir, tell us what your expectations are for the EEL conference on STEM and girls in STEM.
All right, thank you. My name is Kati Delali Kofi, the national president for Ghana Technical Union of Student, GNUT. So today, I am expecting that by the time we are leaving here, there are solutions for us to outline to solve issues that are relating to environmental problems. That is basically what I am expecting today and all other things that will come. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, yesterday we spoke about innovations, locally made solutions for our problems. We also mentioned if we're marketing them enough so that we don't rely on foreign expertise or things for our problems or to solve our problems. So, how are we supporting those who are manufacturing and making things locally here in Ghana? Yes, sir. What are your expectations this morning?
Thank you. For me, I am expecting after this conference, a young girl at Obokrom at Ashanti region should be able to convert the waste problem within their community to an employment environment and also to enhance or better her life. Thank you.
Perfect. Yesterday we spoke about a future female Zoom Lion CEO or whatever she would decide to name it. And we want to see the girls in STEM rise to become owners and innovators of such problems that brings and get solutions for them. Madam.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Dorothy. Okay, so personally, I would say that after today's section, I think I personally should be educated on how best to handle the environment, the waste, how best to solve them, and channeling it into something good and better so that the little ones that are coming up would learn from it, and then I think we're going to make a better Ghana in a better world as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The value chain of waste management and turning it into money is serious. When you go on social media and you see what people the kind of waste people gather and the kind of money they make from it, even by putting it on social media, showing how the waste is gathered. If you follow the Bar Stop Boys, I'm sure their social media accounts are monetized by now. So they are cashing out, yes, on social media by all of you clicking and watching. Hey, Efini, they are in the gutter, they are in this. And then as well, the donations they are getting, the partnerships they are getting. So multiple streams of income. That's how we should think outside of the box. It's not, oh, what if the customer doesn't come to buy where I am sitting? So the goods, you pack it back home. You have an online base that you can sell to. There are other avenues. So this is how we want to be thinking this morning and as of yesterday and today. So please lend us your brains today because we will really need them. Ladies, who is starting first on their expectations this morning? I love red. Let me come to you.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm called Patience. My expectation today is I hope to gather as much knowledge as I can today because I wasn't here yesterday. So I can take it back to my team and where I work because where I work, we deal with sustainable development. We refine nets, waste nets at the sea. So I hope that the knowledge I gather here, I can take it back to my team and, we can put that knowledge into practice. Thank you.
Wow. Please, let's give her a round of applause. She is part of a STEM organization. They changed waste nets from the sea, recycle it somehow. Absolutely phenomenal. Hello, dear.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nikama, and I wasn't here yesterday, so I'm hoping to gain more knowledge on making the world a better place.
That's so sweet. You have to make the world a better place. How about you, dear?
My name is Ohiniwa, and I was also not here yesterday. So my expectation for today is to learn or find out about more breakout sessions or get breakout sessions on practical strategies that would help us to solve these environmental problems. And then I'm doing geography, so also want to learn how geography can also be used to solve all these problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Perfect. And we have a very varied audience, and I love that. So, as for geography, you see, I'm sure you get frustrated when you hear about the building on waterways, because for geography, will tell you this is where a school should be. This is where a boiler should be. This is where is a safety zone for when there's flooding, and people will go and buy that land and build there. So there's nowhere to run to when trouble comes. Hi.
Okay, my name is Echi. I wasn't here yesterday, but my expectation today is that after here, I want to acquire something to help my environment or my area, my community to focus on how to manage waste in the community. But I'm accounting financial student. I'm also accounting and finance.
Accounting and finance, you are the money people. Oh. You can start your own waste company. Or, when they need money, you release it so that they can do the work. Hello, dear.
So I'm Dorcas, and I wasn't here yesterday. I hope I get insights on leadership and communication, how to grow personally. Thank you.
Wonderful. I definitely am sure that you will get insights into that because that was discussed yesterday, and in every presentation you see the leadership verve of the people speaking. Hello, Sitat.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is Clementina, a student from UPSA. I'm also accounting and finance student. So I'm hoping to learn how STEM can be used to address environmental challenges.
Perfect. Let me go to you. Okay, that's fine. I understand. Thank you so much. So when they come to you for the money, when you hear that it's environmental issues, let's say you become a big woman at the assembly, you have to release the money. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that puts in perspective how the conversations went yesterday, what our expectations are for day 2. Please give yourselves a good round of applause, committing to be here. as we start in earnest. So our first speaker, let me let you know what he's going to come and talk about, and then I'll invite him up here. He's going to be speaking on youth rising, empowering the next generation of STEM leaders for a sustainable Africa. Youth rising, empowering the next generation of youth entrepreneurs for a sustainable Africa, or STEM leaders for a sustainable Africa. Mr. Mahama Abudu is going to do the presentation. Please, sir, join us up here. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's applaud him as he comes up to deliver his presentation. You definitely will be inspired and educated. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. All right, let me start by introducing myself whilst I wait for the officer to be ready for projection of my work. My name is Mahama Abudu. I'm the president of Private University Student Association of Ghana. Today, I will be taking you through the empowering the next generation of STEM leaders for sustainable development or sustainable Africa. And I would like it to be projected whilst we, all right. Okay, once they are working on it, then let me handle it here. Okay. I would like us to start by stepping outside of this comfort auditorium mentally. All right, good. All right, so this is our theme for today. It's youth rising, empowering the next generation of STEM leaders for a sustainable Africa. As a youth president, that is where my more focus is. All right, let me take you through a little overview. And as I stated earlier, I would like to take you through out of this auditorium. Let us travel mentally to the bustling tech hubs of Accra, the expansive solar farms of Morocco, the agricultural laboratories of Kenya, and the source of our own Volta region here in Ghana. Everywhere you look, there is a pulse. It is the rhythmic, unmistakable heartbeat of a continent on the cusp of a revolution. It is the sound of youth rising. And This is what I meant by I want to take you out of this auditorium mentally. And this picture paints how or the kind of Africa we'll be looking up to if we continue that way. When you look at the farms at Morocco, you look at the agricultural laboratories at Kenya, and you look at our own Volta region of Ghana, then it paints a picture of how Africans will continue. All right. So let me give you a little background here. For a decade, global narrative have cast African as a landscape defined primarily by its vulnerability, a continent searching for salvation from the outside. But today, we stand together to declare a structural pragmatic shift. Africa does not need pity. Africa needs platforms. Africa does not need bystanders. Africa needs innovators. The challenge we face from the degradation of our water bodies by illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey, to the creeping advance of the Sahara are complex, but they are not insurmountable. They are simple waiting for the language of modern problem solving, and that language is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you look at the background, despite the numerous challenges that we are facing, it is not a challenge that we cannot tackle. We can easily tackle that challenge through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The question will be, how do we do it, and how are our institutions handling the science, technology, engineering, mathematics, education we are looking for? To understand why our theme today is an absolute necessity, we must look squarely at the raw data defining our current historical moment. Africa is experiencing two momental realities that are colliding in real time. So we have two challenges here, and they are all colliding at the same time. So we'll look at what are these two challenges that are colliding at the same time, and how do we resolve them. One have to do with the demographic explosion. According to the data from the United Nations, by the year 2050, Africa will be home of over 2.5 billion people, and more than 60% of that population will be under the age of 25. This makes Africa the youngest continent on earth. So by 2050, we're expecting to have about 2.5 billion of Africans, and then this population, 60% of it, or out of it, will be youth. So there is a need for us to put our youth in a better position to be able to face these challenges that we're experiencing today. We possess a concentration of human energy, curiosity, and digital narrative intelligence unmatched anywhere else in history. This is what economists call the demographic dividend. This is the second challenge, which is the climate peril. Simultaneously, Africa is being the heaviest ecological burden on Earth. The African Development Bank notes that despite contributing less than 4% of global greenhouse gas emission, Africa suffers disproportionate from the devastating impact of climate change. Our agriculture system, which employ over 60% of our workforce, are threatened by erratic weather patterns. Our cities face unprecedented waste management crisis, and our unique biodiversity is under siege. When these two realities collide, we are faced with a stark binary choice. Either this massive youth population becomes an economic and social crisis due to unemployment and environmental displacement, or they become the single greatest force of sustainable development the world has ever seen. So I initially stated that there are two challenges that are colliding at the same time. It's either the population of 60% out of the 2.5 billion people being pushed in a state that they can manage or handle the challenge that will be facing, or they become a burden on us in terms of unemployment. As the late greater African visionary and Nobel laureate Kofi Annan beautifully observed, no one is born a good citizen. No country can sit back and wait for one to evolve. A sustainable society requires a lifelong investment in its youth. As a student community, we must redefine what STEM means on African soil. For too long, our educational institutions have treated science, technology, engineering, and mathematics as abstract disciplines. Memorize formulas to pass exams, elite clubs for a few chosen brains, or certificates to hang proudly on living rooms. Science, technology, engineering, and the mathematics is not more to be looked at where you need to memorize formulas to go for national science and mathematics quiz, or to hang your certificates in your room claiming of holding a degree. I think we need to change the narrative now. And that should start with our institutions, where they basically deal with terrorists. And then whenever you are able to pass your exams and have A or B+, then you have seen as a best science student. I think that is the narrative we are seeking to change after today's conference. All right, let's look at the key elements here. STEM itself. We need to know that STEM is not an academic luxury. It is an ecosystem of survival. Now, science. What does the science do to us, or why do we need the science for the first place? Science is our diagnostic tool. And I would like everybody to take note of that. It is our diagnostics tool. It is how our young women and men analyze the chemical toxicity of rivers polluted by heavy metals, and engineer bioremediation strategies using local flora. So if we say science is our diagnosis tool, how do you know that this water from the river for the first place, it is being dense with chemicals that are not necessary or that's not good for your body? In order to even think of adding chemicals to that water so that you'll be able to kill some amount or quantity of the germs present before you take that water. It is through science that gives you that capability or the ability to even diagnose that water for the first place. And I say science is our diagnostic tool. Then technology. Technology is our platform for skill. It is how a young coded in Kumasi developed a decentralized USSD-based AI platform that allows a smallholder cocoa farmer to predict rainfall patterns with 95% accuracy without needing to internet access. So you go to the local places and you realize that the cocoa farmer can tell you that, oh, rain will fall heavily around May to June, or June to July this year. And then he knows when to plant his crops and he knows how to harvest his crops. And so it is through technology that gives us this skill and that make it easy for a cocoa farmer at the village to dial a simple code that is created by a young lady or a young gentleman at that area, that he's able to know the rain pattern without necessarily need an internet access. We move to engineering. Engineering is our physical armor. It is the design of sustainable, low-cost, circular economic hosting both from recycled oceans, plastics, or the constructions of solar-powered irrigation grids that free our farmers from dependency on seasonal rains. So it's through engineering that also helps some of our farmers that they're able to create or construct some irrigation system that they will depend on it, not necessarily like only raining season. So if not for the purpose of engineering, as Ghana, we know we have one raining season possible. Let's use the northern aspect of Ghana, that they have one raining pattern. And so when that raining pattern or season is over, they go back to sit at home until the next season. But engineering will give them that skills to create a recreational facilities that they will be able to irrigate their own farms to have another season instead of waiting for the following year. Mathematics is our predictive power. It is the data science that optimizes the distribution of medical supplies and renewable energy potential across rural communities. All right. Now let's get to know what research say about all this. Research published by the World Bank underscores this reality. A 1% increase in the stock of tertiary level STEM human capital can boost a national GDP per capita by up to 0.5% through increased productivity and homegrown technology adaptation. And this was published by World Bank 2023, just recently. When we talk about STEM for a sustainable Africa, we are talking about shifting from a consumption-based economy to an innovation-based economy. We are moving from an Africa that exports raw materials and imports finished solutions to an Africa that possesses its own resources and exports world-class intellectual property. But how do we sustain this STEM revolution across an entire lifetime? This is where the profound work of our host organization, environmental education, and life learning becomes the center of our strategy. The foundational flaw of our traditional educational pipeline is the illusion of finality, the belief that learning ends when the graduation gown is packed away. In a world transforming at exponential speed, a statistical education is sentenced to irrelevance. I'm not saying the word for a while. Public universities across Africa are magnified institutions, but they are often weighed down by massive student population and rigid administrative structures. Private universities, by contrast, possess the gift of agility. We are uniquely positioned to act as rapid testing laboratories for educational reforms. At PUSAG, we are actively advocating for fundamental redesign of private university education. We are pushing for 3 core institutional change. So based on the research we gather as a private university students association of Ghana, we are basically pushing for 3 main key things that have to be done to assist for us to move away from the classroom work, or for us to be able to achieve something better in terms of climate change when we pack our gowns at home after graduation. Please. Next slide. Oh, who is in charge, please? All right, so these are the three key areas that the private universities, Student Association of Ghana is pushing for. We're talking of ditching the traditional dissertation. We are championing a shift away from 150-page theoretical thesis that sit on library shelves, gathering dust. Instead, we want to replace them with mandatory actions-oriented capstone projects. Students should not graduate without designing a prototype, a business model, or a policy framework that directly address a local environmental or a social challenge. So we are seeking to push for that at least a student should not just learn the theory aspect and complete the university and go home, but at least before he or she graduated, he should be able to develop at least a simple prototype or any business model within the institution that can help to better the fellow life. We are also opening access to laboratories. We are calling on our member institution to tear down the walls between the university and the surrounding community. Our laboratories and tech incubators should be open to local youth, encouraging grassroots innovators to work alongside our students. And then 3, co-curriculum green credits. We want to institutionalize a system where students earn academic credit for participating in climate mitigation, reforestation, and community learning energy installatory. Then we are here in Africa. What is our future? No speech on Africa. Africa's future can be whole without confronting an uncomfortable reality. We cannot build a sustainable continent if we continue to leave our young women behind in the STEM revolution. Global data continues to reveal a stark disparity. Women represent less than 35% of students enrolled in STEM. Related fields across higher education in sub-Saharan Africa. This is not a reflection of a lack of capacity. It is a reflection of a systemic exclusion, culture, stereotyping, and a lack of deliberate structure support. So we are indicating here that the percentage of women being enrolled into a STEM is not enough, and they are fewer as 35%. And it is not like we like the structures to involve the ladies. It is just a deliberate structure support that we do not create for them. When you exclude women from STEM, you lose half the intellectual power of the continent. But when you empower a girl in a STEM, you unlock an extraordinary phenomenon known as the gender multiplier effect. Empirical research from the Comfort and Brookings Institute shows that women invest up to 90% of their income and knowledge back into their families and communities, compared to 30 to 40% of men. So you can see here that when you invest in a woman, they intend to reinvest 90% of their income and the knowledge they attain back to the families and then the community, as compared to me and my colleagues who contribute 30 to 40% back instead of the 90%. So this indicates that we need more women in STEM education. Now, before I bring my presentation to conclusion, I would like to make 3 covenants with the youth here, the policymakers, and then the leaders of our various institutions. And this is my covenant with the youth. To my fellow students and the youth of Africa, the era of waiting for permission is over. True leadership is not given, it is taken through the excellence of your output. Do not look at your university degrees as a golden ticket to a corporate desk job. Look at your education as a tool to build solutions. If your community has a waste problem, build a business around it. If your community faces water scarcity, design a filtration system. Your youth is not a limitation, it is your ultimate superpower. So, 3 things here as a youth for you to take note. That you should not look at your university degree as a golden ticket. Whenever your community is facing a waste challenge, you should be able to convert it or create a tool that will handle such a situation. Also, if your community is facing a scarcity of water, you should be able to create a filtration system that will handle that. And then you should not be limited because of your age or you being a youth, but you should rather use it as an opportunity to create more unlimited opportunities. And this is my covenant with the universities and educators. To our faculty members, deans and vice chancellors, we challenge you to change how you measure success. The prestige of a university should no longer be judged by the size of its campus or the number of its publications alone. It should be judged by its relevance to the community. We need you to redesign curricula to be interdisciplinary, bringing engineering students and environmental scientists together to solve real-world problems. Partner with private industries to ensure our training meets the demands of the modern market. I don't know if I've met the target. I thought we could have some university leaders here, vice chancellors, deans. At least we want them to change the narrative or the way the academic, the way the curriculum is being carried about the STEM education, so that they will be able to make sure that they award students that physically or that are able to develop a projects that can handle a community-based projects problems than the education certificates. And that is what we are calling on them. And this is my last covenant, and it has to do with the policymakers. We can yarn and yarn, we can talk and talk. If the policymakers did not buy to our ideas or make a proper provision, it will not help us. So to our government officials and organizations like EEL, we need you to match the ambition of our youth with structured investment. We need a targeted research grants for young African innovators working on local climate solutions. We must see the full implementation of the African Union Science, Technology and Innovation Strategy for Africa, with clear funding paths for youth-led green starters. Do not just invite us to speak at forums. Invest in the ideas we bring to the table. Now, I believe Dr. Isian, this one goes to him, but it's rather unfortunate he has stepped out. He will be my #1 policymaker as he works under the Ministry of Environmental Protection as a deputy director. All right. Conclusion. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as I come to the conclusion of this address, let us remember that history is not a collection of accidental events. History is shaped by the conscious choice of generations who refuse to accept defeat. The story of Africa is being rewritten, and the pen is currently held by the hands of our youth. We are the generation that will bridge the gap between poverty and prosperity. Using the powers of STEM, we are the generation that will prove that economic development does not have to come at the expense of our planet. Resources was when the history books look back at this era, let it be said that a time when the earth was warming, when resources were stretching thin, and when doubts were high, the African youth rose up. Let it be written that we did not run away from the challenges of our time. Instead, we stepped forward into the laboratories, advanced our tech hubs, stood firm in our communities, and built a sustainable, self-reliant, and glorious Africa. Let us rise to this challenge together, armed with the powers of STEM, guided by the vision of the lifelong learning, and driven by the unwavering love for our continent. God bless the African youth. God bless PUSAG and the incredible work of EELL. And may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much. This is our conclusion to the lecture. And we want to encourage the youth here that we should rise up to take the challenges facing us rather than being the first people to complain. And we should not dump our skills just looking for the white collar job where we all find ourselves in the government sector to work for the government. But we should rather invest the knowledge that we attain from our various universities to face the challenges as we all start experiencing today, that the science and the STEM will need to be embraced to the level that we are all looking up. If not that, then at the end, we will have no climate. We'll be facing the flooding every time in our life, and then to all find it difficult in order to make life easy for ourselves. As you can see this year, what happened. And it is just for the citizens or the students or the youth for us to bring our skills together to address such situation. We should not depend on government alone, and we should not push the blame to stakeholders. We should use the skills very well and create an opportunity for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abudu. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions now, I'll pick a few questions for Mr. Mahama Abudu's presentation. You heard what he said. He talked about the curriculum. He talked about how we can be innovative. He's asked for an ecosystem primarily to be able to support young people who don't want to sit in the office, as he said, white-collar job, to sit in the office waiting to be employed, or to sit at home waiting to be employed in the offices, but to take charge and create their own jobs. So if you have any questions, my students, do you have any questions on the presentation so far that you need clarification on? Or you have a comment that you want to add? Anybody thinking through? It will interest you to know. And I'm wondering, do you know how many people die? He talked about, pollution and our planet, saving our planet. Do you know how many people die from air pollution-related sicknesses in Ghana every year? Take a wild guess. Anybody? 1,000? 2,000? You think 2,000? 3,000? Well, 32,500. 32,500 people die yearly. I'm just seeing this from City Newsroom. October 2025, 32,500 people died from air pollution-related sicknesses. So you're walking around, you're probably thinking you don't have asthma, so everything is fine. You don't need to avoid all the bad smoke that comes from the rickety trotro vehicles that you see. You cover your nose. They are burning baller by your house. You are inhaling it. Good. There's a sun-winning factory. There's a ward. You know, you're inhaling all these toxic chemicals. It will go and create something else that you didn't think that it could cause. And in the end, it may degenerate into something that will kill you, because 30,000 people dying out of air pollution. Why? When we could really recycle our waste very well and prevent pollution better. Do you understand? So we are all involved, whether you like it or not. You matter, and this should matter to you. So if you don't have any questions, thank you, Mr. Mahama Abudu, for the presentation. Thank you. So please, a round of applause for Mr. Mahama Abudu, who did his presentation. And that presentation was for you, Youth Rising, Empowering the Next Generation of STEM Leaders for a Sustainable Africa. Now, up next is another presentation, another thought-provoking one by Dr. Solomon Kojo-Hagan, Environmental Awareness as a Driver of Sustainable Behavior, Public Perceptions of Electric Vehicle Adoption in Accra and Implications for STEM Education and Lifelong Learning. I'm probably wondering what are the myths people have heard about electric vehicles, that when you are in it and the battery goes off, it will just stop there. Or they are not charging ports enough across the country. Hey, why should I buy an electric car? What if the battery dies? Doc will tell us everything about that. Doc, please welcome Dr. Doctor. Thank you so much, Dr. Solomon Kojo-Hagan.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much, MC, and thank you to the organizers as well. Good morning. Oh, good morning. I hope you are doing well. Okay, so I'll do this very quickly in about 15 to 20 minutes. I don't want to bore you, even less than that. So, good morning, distinguished guests, conference organizers, fellow researchers here, and to everyone here at the ISSER auditorium. I'm actually a program officer and a researcher with Environmental Protection Authority, and I also do things related to climate change and sustainable development. But with my research, I'm into two-spoke, because when we talk about climate change, we are either dealing with either a mitigational outline or an adaptational outline. So with electric vehicles of my research, I would want to look into the mitigational outline. When we say mitigation, probably what we are trying to say is that how do we cut fossil fuel so that at the end of the day, we could have a fruitful environment to thrive? Great. So this morning, I will share my findings from a research that sits at the intersection of this conversation. That is sustainable urban mobility and environmental education. The argument is that I would want to back it with data I gathered in Accra, so that you could find an empirical findings from what I also found. Now, this is a roadmap. At the end of it, we would want to challenge that we look at the global transport sector, about 15 to 30%, close to 40, which results in what we call pollution from internally combustion engine vehicles, that we call the ICEs, and also that of the health-related hazards when it comes to these ICUs that we use in Ghana. Now, Ghana has made a commitment. We look into the science of the Paris Agreement, even that of the Ministry of Transport has articulated what we call the National Electric Policy documentation. But the reality on the grounds lacks or far behind what the document actually presents. Now, there are few public charging stations as it stands now where we discuss the EV perspective in Ghana. But the question is that, what does the ordinary resident or the ordinary citizen who works within the environment or the city of Accra thinks about EVs? So we did an Accra residential survey. We surveyed about 232 from a multi-level perspective district. What I want to say is that we clustered it into a multi-layer. So we picked from different actually districts and municipal assemblies using a 232 Accra residential survey. And we got to understand that there is low EV penetration, and even with a set of perceptional arguments that we want to make. Next slide, please. Great. So we analyzed and we got to find out that we would want to understand the public perception and knowledge of EV among residents. That was one of the objectives. Wanted to understand what the social attitude it is when somebody would want to perceive to use an EV. And also how cost concerns shape readiness to adopt an EV in the very first place. So these are the methodological designs that we use, backed by several theories of planned behavior, diffusion of innovation model, and all of that. If we want to understand these theories, we are just trying to say that if a technology is emerging, okay, how fast or how wide would somebody accept the technology? That is what we call the diffusion of innovation. Okay, so if there is a new technology within the African territory, within the Ghanaian perspective, how wide or how fast will people really accept that technology? That is the theory. Next slide. Now, this is what we got out of the respondent. Now, in a 232 urban resident survey across Accra, predominantly a youthful population, but we got to understand that this actually brings an empirical findings as to what the youth needs to do in terms of environmental awareness, what they have to play to be able to understand what sustainable behavior really is. Because I believe when you are environmentally aware, you tend to also develop a sustainable attitude towards it. If we are incorporating an angle where we say that we are public aware of what exactly the consequence of the positive and negative impact of EV comes with, then we tend to understand what exactly will be the impact of it when we embrace it. Next slide, please. So the findings show that there was a general positive response broadly associated with EV, with modernity, environmental responsiveness. Now, trust in EV and perceived social prestige strongly influence willingness to adopt. The environmental identity also showed that there is a strong link between environmental self-identity and a positive attitude to EV. Now, with safety and reliability, most perceived EVs are safe and reliable, with majority agreeing that EVs are easy to use and modern. Again, from the social norm matter, peers and family options significantly influence EV attitude, reinforcing the role of social learning. And lastly, on the awareness sources, we got to understand that the social media and internet were the primary information channel where key opportunities for environmental education and campaigns could be championed. Next slide, please. Now, when we do analysis, there are two types of analysis where we say that one could be descriptive and one could be inferential. When we talk about inferential, we are trying to say that we want to make a generalized conclusion at the end of the day. So with the charging infrastructure, we did what we call a regression analysis predictor, where we are able to predict what actually is responsible for the EV adoption readiness within the Accra terrain. And we got to find out that the first was charging infrastructure. So charging infrastructure, according to the residents of Accra, says that if we are able to get enough charging infrastructure in Ghana or within the city of Accra, then we will be ready to adopt EV. The second one says that if environmental awareness should be also, championed, if people should be able to understand what the environment actually is to be protected when we adopt this mitigational lifeline, then we will say that they would adopt the EV. And the third regression predictor we did also was cost perception. People also say that if you are able to, introduce government incentives, or if you're able to introduce some level of policies to reduce the cost, then we would adopt EV. You get it? So if we did the regression analysis, then these are the three most important things that would make someone adopt the EV or would make somebody use the electric vehicle within the African terrain. But my concentration is so much on the second one. That is the environmental awareness. That is where it sits at the intersection of this conversation we are having. Next slide, please. Okay, so now, if we are having environmental awareness as our key driver to this conference and as part of the STEM educational agenda, then we can say that the environmental awareness emerged the second strongest predictor of positive EV attitude. So when people understand what the environment stakes, then behavior follows. So this affirms that environmental education is not supplementary to sustainable development. Rather, it is a foundation. What are we going to do? Now, from the gender-sensitive design, the girls and young women disproportionately affected by urban air pollution. That means that STEM education must center their needs. Secondly, when science-based environmental literacy directly drives citizen decision-making on environmental tech, that means that if we incorporate or integrate climate STEM education for the girl child, even from the primary school level through to secondary school level and part of the tertiary education, then we are trying to actually bridge the gap when we talk about environmental awareness on EV adoption, and also trying to help curb that of the air pollution crisis in the city of Accra. Because I deal with so much of mining things with the EPA, I also added that environmental education has similarly shifted community perception, on sustainable mining practices. Now, on the issue of lifelong learning, if we are going to have a sustained, repeated exposure to environmental knowledge, not an off-one campaign, then it means that we are going to drive a lasting behavioral change. When we talk about sustained, repeated exposure, then we are trying to talk about the fact that if we can do a continuous trying to integrate environmental awareness in our curriculum, our system structure, and all those for the girl child in education, then we are going to drive a last-longing behavioral change, bridging the gap of the second predictor of EV being environmental awareness. Next slide, please. Now, the policy recommendation for this is that at the end of the day, looking at the whole EV conversation with environmental awareness, then we are going to expand charging infrastructure. If you are able to expand charging infrastructure, that is government and private sectors provide urgent investments to assessing public charging station where people would have the chance to be able to charge their vehicles, then the adoption rate is going to be high. Targeted financial incentives, like I said, that when we are able to get good, reduce EV import duties, introduce affordable financing schemes where bank would give good leverage loans so that we could import EVs, then the adoption is going to be high. Gender sensitive STEM education, the one that sits at the intersection of this conference, where we integrate environmental and policy literacy into schools' curricula with deliberate focus on reaching girls and young women in urban communities, letting them understand what it means that to be environmentally aware, the pros and cons, how to tackle it, how to instill a long life learning behavioral in them, so we can champion this to a very long esteem. Next slide, please. Okay, so in conclusion, Ghana's low carbon transition will not be determined by infrastructure alone. It will be changed by the depth of environmental literacy that will be cultivated through sustained gender-sensitive public education, because it is part of its strongest predictor after a regression analysis to show that to be able to adopt EV within the African terrain, environmental awareness, of which the girl child and the STEM education plays a pivotal role. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll welcome questions as well.
Doc, let me do questions. Very, very practical. Please, if you have any questions, doubts, you want education on the EV vehicles. Okay, there's a hand here. Great. Because I'm sure you were paying key attention and jotting down some notes.
Hello, doctor. Please, I have a simple question, but what are the required steps to import and operate an EV charging station, and what regulatory permits or licenses are needed for this business?
Perfect. The entrepreneurs, you see, they hold the money. So, and they're asking.
Yeah, I saw in your policy recommendation something with regards to girls. However, your emphasis was on the urban girls. What happens to peri-urban and rural girls who might You get it? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Awo. Great. I like it when they're young ones.
Okay, so thank you very much for the opportunity. So I think during your presentation, you spoke about the environment, making the environment a better place. But I argue on this EV. So when you produce, so you spoke about the advantages of having EV. So I wanted to highlight the disadvantages too. So see, when you produce EV, the batteries, when they get spoiled, you leave it to the environment, right? They pollute the environment. Two, the minerals that we use to manufacture these batteries. I mean, we need to mine these minerals. In mining it too, I believe it causes damages to the environment. And then the last one is electricity source. So in Ghana, I know we have a lot of issues with electricity. I mean, the common term is doomso. So yeah, having this, I think the norm is the government too must be involved in this. We must push the government, and then they have to do something to our electricity source. Yes, thank you very much.
Please, a round of applause for him. Very brilliant questions, you would say. Sustainable electricity supply and how we mine the byproduct of these batteries. Doc, is it lithium? Lithium, yes. How are we mining lithium? Any other questions? Going for the doctor to understand EV. The ladies, you don't want to start an EV charging station in your hometown or your community. EV vehicles, they are nice. Oh. You don't see them. Okay, Doc. I guess you address these questions, few questions. Maybe more will come up.
Thank you. So I'll take the first question that says that how do we import it and how do you operate as a business person? So first of all, I'm sure you need to get in touch with your where you're going to get, let me say, the primary source of your where you are going to buy it from. But let me talk from the Ghanaian terrain. Now, the Ministry of Energy has a guidelines requisite for installing an EV production in Ghana, like where you have to do your charging station. So I am not much preview to what the structure might be, but I know that the Ministry of Energy would give you a permit. Okay, with us at Environmental Protection Authority, the most important thing we do is that we come to assess the place to see how environmental friendly it is. We are going to give permits after we get the Ministry of Energy's approval. It's like the way we do the mining lease. So if the Minerals Commission should give you a lease to undertake a mining, then from there you can come to the EPA for us to also give you an environmentally friendly permit to go ahead. But the most important thing is that the Ministry of Energy has an outlined permit condition before you can actually import. It starts from even the port entry to your installation, and there is an annual, they are going to give you a schedule to their permit. What it means for them to give you a schedule to the permit is that they give you requisite conditions to follow, the do's and don'ts, the type of where to even situate it are all requisite informations that when you get in touch with the Ministry of Energy, they will be the very best people to give you what exactly they import. But the most important thing is cost. That mostly deter lots of people. Cost becomes an issue when you are importing, and that has hindered a lot of people for bringing in this. But I could see that within the Accra terrain, we are having a gradual shift. Companies are beginning to buy into the idea of installing infrastructure that would help also import more EVs to be able to accelerate the competition that comes with that ICU vehicle. So I agree with you, but let's get in touch with the ministry for more. Okay, thank you so much. Now, on the issue of what happens to rural ladies when we are giving much focus to the urban, I believe that with the research I outlined, my emphasis was on Accra, but it tends to be a gap and a limitation as well that we would want to look into the future. So one thing that we are saying that even when you look into other regional comparative studies like Kigali, like that of Nairobi, you'll see that within the African terrain, it is starting with the concept of the cities. Okay, it's starting with the concept of the cities. So I'm sure with time, will be able to identify more research and go into what actually you are coming in, that how does the rural girl child also contribute or also get the knowledge to be able to understand this conversation we are talking about. And that's the reason why sometimes we need research grants and funds to be able to work this gap out. So I believe with time, it's a continuous conversation that with time, we'll be able to find real-time meaning answers to it as well. Exactly.
What's your follow-up plan for this? Because if you ask me, the sample size is quite small. We have 16 regions, and largely Accra.
Yes.
And basing your recommendations on that.
Yes. So it was a perceptional study looking at the residents in Accra's adoption level when it comes to EV, with a focus on Accra. So what we used is that we used the alpha numerical of 0.5, and also to be able to make inferential statistics. Where we calculated using the population, we got to understand that we were able to use a 215 from a multi-stage probability sampling, we could infer. But to be able to bridge the gap of, let me say, plus or minus errors, we had to add a little bit of sample to be able to make a conducive meaning. Yes, so we are looking at Accra for now, but we are not looking at the whole of Ghana, because the gap to this research is that when you go to Kumasi, the findings you might get might be different from what you found in Accra. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. So also with that of how do we, looking at the disadvantages of EVs specifically, and looking at the battery, minerals, electricity store. So even in the conversation of climate change, when we talk about EVs, a lot of researchers even come up with the concept of trying to punch holes that even with that of our electricity grid, it is not even climate sustained. Because the question is, where do we get our electricity even as Ghanaians? Obviously from coal. And coal is against climate change. So with the sustainability of the whole value chain, it's even questionable. If we were doing solely renewable energy, then we would have thought that, okay, we are getting there. But the value chain itself is questionable. That doesn't mean that we will not even start it. Do you get it? So that also becomes a disadvantage. Secondly, like I said, another disadvantage of EV is the upfront cost. It's very expensive. To be able to buy an EV, even these days that we see the Chinese companies bring in EVs, if you ask, it is not a joke. You understand? But when you see the luxury of it, it becomes so nice for you. And when you calculate that of the cost incurred, you calculate what you are going to use the ICU compared to the EV, you see you are making quite a number of profit annually or maybe quarterly. You understand? So it has a disadvantage. Even another disadvantage is that when sometimes the EV breaks down, okay, manufacturer repairs become a bit difficult, because sometimes the manufacturer that produces the vehicle is not stationed within a local context within the Ghanaian perspective. So if you face challenges, sometimes it even becomes difficult trying to get back on track. But that's not saying that we are not going to adopt it, because with Europe, with part of Asia, with looking at part of America, North America, it is thriving. But within the African cities, it will take time. But it is a gradual process for adoption, so we can drive towards sustainable action. But most importantly, environmental awareness becomes a very conducive atmosphere to drive as a predictor using the regression analysis I showed. And that alone should push us to be able to invest so much in STEM for a long, sustained future as well. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. And I'm sure Madam Awu was asking because, for the rural girls, like where I come from, the sun is crazy there. Solar can be able to run a charging point, right? You can use solar to run a charging point.
So as it stands now, there's no being a solar charging point.
Okay.
Yes. So
But is there a possibility?
Yeah, there's a possibility. There's
Okay.
a possibility.
You see? So maybe become a solar entrepreneur and harvest the sun that is killing us in the north all the time, and use it for a power station for EV vehicles. as well. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's, a round of applause for Doc again. Dr. Solomon Kojo Hagan doing that presentation for us. Our next presentation, just before we go into the panel discussion, will come from Mr. Samuel Kenneth Salami. He's going to look at from the classroom to the community, how STEM can empower girls to lead Africa's environmental future. Mr. Salami, are you here? Good morning. Okay, welcome. Please, let's welcome him upstage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Samuel Kenneth Salami, currently working with the Forestry Commission as an environmental and social safeguard specialist. So we've had a lot of discussions since yesterday based on STEM, what STEM can do, how we can empower girls and whatnot with regards to STEM and our environment in particular. Today, I'd like to bring us home to Ghana specifically, and to, within us, our locality. I mostly work with communities through the projects I've been implementing, which are RED+, that's climate-related projects. And I've seen that the importance of all this should start from the classroom. And when we talk about the classroom, our focus today is on girls in STEM. So the focus should be how we train girls from the classroom to the leadership role, because I believe girls being in the leadership role is the appropriate way to help advance a fight against climate change and also empower more in terms of STEM and environmental sustainability. So let's picture Africa in 2050. We ask ourselves these questions. Who will lead the solutions? Who will protect our forests? Who will secure our water and food systems? Who will design climate resilient communities? Yes, we have people in STEM already tackling these issues, but if we are taking, that's practically about half of the population of Africa, if we are focusing on the male aspects. So if we need full solutions or if we need working solutions, we should include the entire population, and that is bringing in girls. So if the knowledge does not sit with just the males. So right from the classroom, we bring in those, because by ignoring the girls, we are ignoring the future engineer, the future meteorologists, all these people who have the ideas and knowledge to empower the sustainable environment going forward. So Africa can only move forward when we have all these talents on board. Right. And already we are seeing this, some of these environmental challenges that need these solutions. So we have our forests are under pressure. We have cocoa expansionist activities, galamsey, all this affecting our environment. We can see the cocoa farmers always complaining. These are challenges that, especially with our tree crops and our cash crops, cashew, all this. We have a lot of issues with regards to illegalities, galamsey, or the illegal logging, all this. And the land and food systems are also at risk, while our soils are declining due to these illegalities and also agricultural activities that are not climate smart. Water insecurity, look at the pollutions. Even a recent flood within the urban areas, Accra especially, has shown that we have a lot of pollution, which all this also washes into other water bodies within the country. And all this affect us. Climate extremes, we are seeing, the rain pattern has changed. All this is also affecting us. There are droughts, extreme droughts in certain parts of the country. So these are not just environmental problems. They affect our livelihoods, health, education, safety, and opportunity. And it requires science and also local knowledge in solving these issues. So why must girls be at the center? When we say we are bringing up girls to help solve these issues, we are not saying we are marginalizing or neglecting the males. No. But we want to ensure that we bring in, I believe, training the girl brings in more quality assurance. And in the role, our basic gender roles, women and nurturers, women are able to incorporate more into our kids because they are mostly with the kids, unlike the male who have, due to our gender roles, we are always busy, 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 busy. Women who are trained in STEM, women who have the local knowledge, we're able to also pass on that knowledge, empower, push the kids into STEM and also other areas that will help us get more leaders in positions that can help us resolve this environmental crisis. So it is not just a charity that we are bringing the girls on board. It is a strategy. This helps with our environmental solutions. So it's not just the experience of the guys. Looking at the experience of the women, because when it comes to, as I said, gender roles, look who gets affected the most, especially in terms of household activities, livelihood. The women, food production, water, healthcare, household energy, all these are all lived experiences that help girls to better understand the issues and bring up solutions that can help us. So the benefit extend beyond the individual to the families, as I said, the women and nurturers. So they ensure quality assurance when we bring them in. So from STEM skills to environmental solutions. So as it's not as from the classroom to leadership. So it starts from the class, we build the knowledge. And in building the knowledge, we have to ensure that they are applied. And in application, STEM can bring the technology and also provide advice, but there are barriers, there are components that also factor. We have to look at policies, governance. So we have to work hand in hand with all this, ensure that these barriers are brought there, especially with regards to how women are incorporated into our daily activities and also our livelihoods. So we can have women in environmental data collection, climate smart agriculture, clean energy innovation, conservation and restoration. It becomes the STEM becomes a powerful when knowledge is transformed into solutions that improve everyday life. So we are not ignoring, as we say, we are not ignoring the local innovation. We have to ensure that as we are teaching the girls to buy into STEM, we are also ensuring that we don't do away with local knowledge. If you look at most safeguards, international safeguard standards, there's always a safeguard as a respect local knowledge and rights of indigenous or local communities. This is important because if you come into a community and you are bringing in a project and then you decide the community has to go your way, let's say with regards to a certain way of farming, and the community is not able to adapt to their way of farming. Meanwhile, the knowledge they had to at that level, if you had done your basic background check or try to respect their knowledge, you see that whatever they were doing was also good. Either you come in to augment it or help make some few corrections here and there, but you still respect that local knowledge. So you look at the local innovation, ensuring that the girl child is given through the life experience, they're able to incorporate what they have learned over their lifetime into STEM to bring up good solutions for our environmental issues. So what stands between the potential of the girl child and and these opportunities? As I said, social expectations. We stereotypes can discourage. Well, a girl can be an engineer, a girl can be this or that. Oh, this role, this kind of work is made for men. A girl won't be able to do a 24-hour shift. No, they don't have the same stamina as men. All these stereotypes are barriers that prevents girls into going to STEM. Unequal access. So as I said, unequal access to lab, digital tools, reliable internet, and all this. We have to make sure that these barriers are that we provide all these channels for girls to also gain accessibility. Limited mentorship. We have to ensure that as we are mentoring upcoming talents, we focus on the girls to provide mentors that understand the psyche of women and how to better mentor them into the right leadership roles that we need. Weak career pathways. The STEM education does not always translate into internship funding or employment. This is where we have to ensure that we get partnerships, lay down policies that will help girls also get scholarships, funding, internships, all that to help them push their career forward. So the problem is not the lack of ability, it's the lack of access, encouragement, and opportunity. The girl child does not need the ambition reduced to fit the system. The system must expand to support their ambitions. So we must provide the building blocks for all this. What turns potential into leadership? So as I said, women are nurturers. Inspire early. Imagine a doctor can inspire the child to also go into STEM or go into should I say, careers that will further help us improve bring solutions to our livelihood. So early inspiration, not just in the classroom, but even our society. Libraries, we need to have libraries and areas that the children can gain inspiration from, exposure to certain information with regards to STEM, and all this helps to shape the mindset of the child growing up. Practical learning. Most of the time we say in Ghana, we are always dealing with theory. What about the practicality of it? You have to provide avenues to put this into practice. Connect girls to mentors. As a mentorship programs, the appropriate mentors that better understand this gender and also how to better navigate their psyche and how to better help them assimilate what they have learned and put into practice. We also create routes to leadership. We don't just open channels to the certain gender, leaving an gender out. We have to ensure that we all have equal opportunities. When you come to our communities, local communities, in terms of, let's say, forest-related or climate-related governance structure development, what we usually do is you have a discussion with or consultation with the communities as you're setting up the governance structure. You sensitize them on gender roles and also gender responsibilities, so that, and you discuss with them. You are forming a governance structure. You have these executive positions. Why not make a conscious decision to leave at least 2 positions for women, where no male contests for those positions? Though we run elections to select leaderships, we ensure that these 2 positions are only women eligible. So these are kind of gender responsive approaches that we can use, create the channel so that they can also jump on. So if we come to, as I said, we're coming down to Africa and Ghana proper. So in science, safeguard, local knowledge and participation, all this to contribute to the solutions that we need. These solutions are co-created with the people who will use and sustain them. So in community mapping. Girls, we teach girls to use GIS and mobile tools. All this it shouldn't just be one gender that gets this knowledge. Climate smart farming. We don't say women cannot farm or farming is something that only the male gender can do. No, there are a lot of farmers around the world who are very good farmers who are women. It's not a gender specific activity. The restoration and monitoring, young people in the communities where we go to do our safeguards monitoring in terms of forest related activities. We're going to safeguards monitoring. We incorporate the youth and the children because sometimes they see or know certain things that even the adults in the communities are not aware of, and they help us bring out these risks to help further improve the program, which in effect benefits the whole community. So we can incorporate them in various stages of their livelihood so that they can also bring in what they know. And note, we won't say this person is a child or this person doesn't know what they are saying. You have to consider what everybody brings on board and weigh the options so that we can use it to properly plan. So, as I said, the STEM can bring the technology and the advice, the innovations, but when there are certain barriers, it can never work. That's why we need the government. Government should invest in gender responsive STEM education, digital infrastructure, scholarships, inclusive environmental policies. The communities and families, we have to challenge the stereotypes that women belong in the kitchen. No, women have to, there are certain times that women should not be at meetings or should not be out of the house and all that. These are all barriers. Schools and universities have to bring up a more STEM related curriculums and also ensure that in accepting applications, they make some considerations, at least for the girls too, and also private sector and partners, so NGOs, CSOs, in implementing their various programs or bringing help to the communities. They ensure that they incorporate gender in all that they do. Because when you in doing all this, we look at gender responsiveness and inclusivity. Let's say you go to a community, you want to have an engagement with the community meetings, then you maybe you put the engagement at a time where maybe the women will be in the house cooking or something. That's not being inclusive. Or when you look at a place, you choose a place that persons with disability can have access to. So the location, the time, these are all considerations of inclusivity that we must consider. So the future that we are choosing, Africa's environmental future will be stronger when girls are not only included in STEM, but equipped to lead with it. That's why we say from the classroom to leadership role, because once you start from the classroom, you implement through practicalities, you create the channels, push the girls into positions that can help us make sustainable decisions. So we educate, we equip, and we elevate the girls. So let us move the girls from the margin of opportunity to center of environmental leadership. STEM is a tool, but leadership is a destination. Thank you.
Please, do we have any questions for Mr. Samuel? Okay, Madam Awo. You have a question too? You have a question? Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Samuel. You know, when I was listening to you, right, when you made mention of stereotyping, I'm just thinking wild that when it comes to STM, should we use stereotyping or we use intentionality? Because men are men, women are women. You can't take it away from them. Their strength or capacity to do things differ. We see women in the military, we see men in the military. But when it comes to undergoing training, there is consideration. So they are intentional. If they want to retain the women, they subject them to particular skills training that can retain them. But if they want to do shaggy things too, they subject them to a particular training that make them fall out. So I feel, looking at that experience, I feel we should be looking at intentionality rather than eliminating stereotype, because stereotypes, we know how they affect, but the reality on the ground has more to do with being intentional to get more women enrolled than the other. I'm just thinking wild, so maybe we can brainstorm and see.
Thank you so much, Awo. It's true. 2, 3 weeks ago, I was in Germany and we're talking about the quota system. When you talk about intentionality, that isn't working for us, that will give a caveat that in every company you must have at least 5, 3, 4 women. Has it improved what the statistics look like, or it's not doing anything to help? You know, people have diverse opinions. Some of the Turkish journalists were arguing that, oh, for all you know, they are just taking a box. Are they really ensuring that they are quality women as part of the company, among other things? But I still think that the quota system helped, because if not, there are some CEOs or companies that would not open the doors for women, among other things. So it forces them to recognize the importance of women.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. For the Accra flooding, the recent flooding, we need like good maps to be able to map out these flood-prone areas and then these wetlands. So as a geography student also into GIS, how would the skills, or how would I be able to use these my spatial skills to work with local assemblies, or are there any research grants for these young girls or women partaking in these flooding measures or creating these maps for those floods? Thank you.
It's a very brilliant question, if you ask me. Are there any questions? Okay.
Thank you very much. I think mine has to do with culture. Our culture has made things in a way that our feminine, or should I say the women, don't even want to put themselves in some STEM-related activities. They believe that everything is manpower. So for that matter, women are not encouraged to come to do that. But I believe that technology has gone beyond manpower now, where we see females even at the airports doing a whole lot. So I think these sensitizations and educative programs that we are doing, we shouldn't limit it to only the tertiary institutions. Let's look down to the basic level. Let them have the comfortability of expressing themselves so as we can also get their mindset as they develop to the tertiary level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ghana National Union of Technical Students. You know, I wonder, maybe I should have asked the GES madam yesterday, do they like have a TV in the primary schools or something, a display where they show people who have been able, women who have been able to, you know, brace themselves in the STEM area? So like a female mining engineer. Does a girl in Kumungu or Agoteme know? Do they see them? You see the problem. So the mentors, for a child like that to believe that tomorrow she can be a female mining engineer.
Okay, thank you. So my question is, in your organization, what are some of the piloting techniques you are putting in place to improve the girl-child STEM systems in Ghana, especially in the rural areas? Thank you.
You have a question? Okay. The last question.
All right, thank you. So, my elder sister, who studied physics engineering at the University of Cape Coast for 8 years, and she has been in the house. And this lady, as I said, is very brilliant. Happens to be the only lady among the batch as at that time. My question is, after the girl child take these STEM courses and then they come out, what is there for them to be able to impart the knowledge that they have gone to acquire into the environment or into the society? Thank you.
Sorry, what did you say she studied again?
Physics engineering.
Wow. Engineering, Dr. Asian, Dr. Asian, you have to look for that young woman and mentor her or something. But I'm sure Mr. Salami will give us the answers to these questions. Thank you.
Well, I'll try to give as much an answer or solution as I can. Well, thank you very much for your mentioning the intentionality as against stereotyping. That's something that is, as you said, is worth considering in terms of STEM especially. And to address your GIS related question, well, as I said, in working with the local authorities, you can develop these drone maps, flood early warning systems, there's this flooding technology that some other countries like. There are a lot of ways that women can also contribute as long as they have the knowledge and skill. But as I said, it's all about accessibility and also implementing these theories, the channels. You wanted to find out if there are grants or other means to fund or support these girls who are into GIS. Well, I can't speak to the local authorities or ministries on whether there are such funds or grants, but I do know there are NGOs and CSOs that do provide these opportunities. Some are mentorships and all that, and there are quite a few that I can share. There's I think Geo Chickers. There's I think youth girl. Yeah, I don't have them off head, but there are organizations that actually support in this regard. They provide, as I said, mentorship. They also provide some funds where necessary and all this. So it's something that you can look at. So we can talk after. If you are really interested, I can help provide you with some of these organizations. And my brother, thank you very much for your contribution in terms of the community, how we ensure that the women actually accept that STEM is not just in a certain way or for a certain gender. As you said, that is where the awareness creation and breaking that barrier. That's why we have to ensure that, as you said, the women are the nurturers. So if the woman understands this, puts this into the mind of the child, we break that chain of those stereotypes and all that. That's what will help us. With regards to your sister's issue, how this can be solved, as I said, there are barriers. There are barriers, which is not just one component. It's governmental, it's policy, it's funding. All these are barriers, and it's not just one way to fight it. As I said, when it comes to the climate unit of the Forestry Commission, for example, in implementing our projects, we try to be as gender responsive as possible, and where in distribution of benefits with regards to our projects, we ensure that the the benefits that go, majority goes to the local community, and what goes to the local communities, most of the time, we leave it to the local communities to decide. And some of the through coaching and all, some of the communities put some of their benefits or funds aside to sponsor the kids or the girls in the communities through school and all. And when they are done, they let them also come on board. We form governance structures. Through that, we also connect them to NGOs and CSO, private sector. So through this, some of the girls or some of the kids that have been trained are also absorbed into such organizations, because how should I put it? The data is there, the backing is there that yes, this and this have led to this, and this person is capable of this. That's one channel I am aware of. But as to how this can be brought into the general public or other areas, that is mostly a governmental issue. And that's something that we still try to push to open the channel for. I think I've addressed everybody. And yes, yours was based on the, sorry, what was it? Yes, the piloting system. Yeah. So as I said, as I was I mentioned this system where the communities also do put aside some funds to sponsor the kids in the community. So we have in terms of forestry, we in partnership with some NGOs, we have something called, we have youth champions, where we create this hub for youth with sponsorship and also trainings. We help them understand their responsibility in safeguarding the environment and also train them. We provide trainings virtually and physically where possible. So we have at least some pilot programs. We have some hubs that we bring in the youth, depending on and it's mostly based on funding too. So depending on our funding sources and how we can convince the donors or funders to support what we intend to implement. So it's not like a laid down structure or it's as simple as it looks. It takes a lot. Sometimes you have to, what you propose to the donors or the funders in terms of this piloting and all that, some come with their own focus. It's how you manage to convince them that yes, let's do this, or let's add to the proposal so that we get the funds to sponsor it. So, and in the sector, in the forestry sector, we push for this in terms of our RED Plus implementation, because our projects are mostly gender responsive, gender geared. So that's one way we also pilot one or two different, also help with livelihood, alternative livelihoods for these kids and their parents, because when the parents are able to sustainably live, they are able to push the kids through the educational system, and this also helps us in the long run. I hope I've answered the question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel Kenneth Salami. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do it better for him. Quite an insightful presentation. You've asked your questions, and that's why we're here, for that knowledge exchange. You get it clarified, and you can always reach out to him again for more discussions. Take his card or his contact, among other things. It's very important. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring our next presenter for his presentation now. Yesterday, he was here and he spoke extensively. He was part of the panel as well. Dr. Patrick Essien, you heard him murmuring the engineering physics, because that's all that he lives and breathes, you know. He's going to be speaking on bridging science, policy, and education, empowering girls to shape Africa's environmental future. He's the board chair of Kasi Energy as well. It is an energy solution NGO that is based in northern Ghana, but you know that's a lot of work. And so he's always proud to support young people's dreams. Let's welcome Dr. Patrick Essien, Doc, from the Environmental Protection Agency. So keenly listen. He's the man with the job, so yes.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon once again. Yes, so I'm supposed to do this presentation, but this presentation is more of mentorship. And today I'm so happy that all my mentees are here. I have the reps from Ghana Union of Polytechnic Students, Technical University Student, I'm sorry. I have a Private University Student Association president here. Nooks is not here, right? Okay, so all my people are here. And you know what? In Molex Foundation, before I found the Molex Foundation, I mentored some young guys, and by then they were in Legon, and they've done their masters. Some of them are law students at the moment, and one of them is here. So instead of I presenting, my professor or mentor in US told me that he makes equals. So I'll give him the platform to do this presentation, and then we'll proceed from there. Mr. Dominic Ebo Ahin, the founding member of Molex Foundation, I think will take the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patrick Essien, for that brief and wonderful introduction. So as he mentioned, my name is Dominic Eboahin. My first degree was in political science here in Legon. My master's was in climate change and sustainable development. And I'm reading law now, third year law school at CAF University. I'm also a co-founder of Molex Foundation Africa. So I'm going to take you through what we do. And I was very happy when I saw the theme for this program, because that is what Molex Foundation Africa we've been doing for the past 3.5 years. Right, so our mission and vision is clearly here. We envision that we are going to have a continent, that is Africa, where there will be an opportunity for everybody so that they can lead and then thrive. Our mission is also to shape an inclusive Africa where every child is empowered with opportunity, mentorship, and resources to rise, lead with purpose, and drive global transformation through STEM, innovation, and resilient leadership. So it is an undeniable fact that we have a lot of environmental challenges that we are facing as a globe, and even as a continent, and even as a country. You bear with me that these environmental challenges cannot be solved by just one aspect of the population. So there should be that unison, there should be that oneness in trying to tackle the issues of that regards to the environment. And so girls are not left behind, and they form an important factor in trying to deal with this canker. So, like I mentioned earlier, one of these environmental issues that personally and as a foundation is so dear to our heart has to do with the issue of climate change. And climate change is affecting almost every department of our lives, economically, social, education, health-wise, and so on and so forth. It is threatening livelihood, it is affecting our biodiversity, it is affecting poverty, and of course, the issue of inequality when it comes to the climate change discourse. So we also agree with me that STEM can be a major driver for sustainability. And with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, we are able to understand the environmental problems that we are facing as a continent or as a country. With STEM, we are able to design innovative technologies. We are able to improve resource management, and then develop various climate change adaptation strategies. My research or my thesis was on climate adaptation, how we can assess climate finance to deal with the issue of adaptation. The mitigation in our part of the world, you agree with me that it's not something easy to chalk. And so since climate change is here with us, it is very important that we are able to adapt to the diverse impact it is causing on us. And of course, STEM can play a major role in doing that. And then with STEM, we can also promote sustainable development. Sitting back there, I was listening to the discourse of gender gap in the field of STEM, and I heard the word stereotype. I believe that it is not the first time all of us are hearing the issue of gender stereotype. It's not only in STEM, in various fields, but over here, it is really, really enormous because in the field of STEM, it is male or it is masculine dominated. So does that gender stereotype that is coupled with STEM. If you look at almost all the STEM fields, you realize that women are limited. They are really underrepresented. We also have fewer girls that are pursuing engineering or even the STEM courses, both at the senior high school and even at the tertiary level. When it comes to leadership positions, even in the field of STEM, men are dominating. Because I schooled here, and I believe that it is the first time we are having a dean, a female dean at the School of Engineering. And most of the science-related departments we have on campus is the first time we are having female, getting out there. For the first time last, I think, 2 years, we had the first female physics department for over 75 years. That is the STEM field. We are now having the first PhD holder in mathematics in the University of Ghana, STEM field. So we realize that these points we have over here, it is very true across all the STEM field. The issue of role model, very limited, but as my presentation goes on, we are going to see the relevance of having role models in the field of STEM. So we say that gender equality is not only a social issue, it is also an environmental necessity. Why should we have girls in STEM? It's very important because, like I mentioned earlier on, they are underrepresented. Climate change is real, it's with us. I don't want to say it has come to stay because I believe that with time we can do something about it. Now, environmental degradation is also affecting communities, and normally girls, women, and children are the most vulnerable. And then we also have sustainable solutions that require diverse perspective. We don't only need men to come up with the solutions to tackle the issue of climate change and STEM. We believe that girls also have the requisite knowledge to also contribute to the table. So now to the major issue, Shiros in STEM. Now, Shiros is a combination of two words. I remember when we were brainstorming on the name to give to this project, it took us almost a week or so. So she, as we all know, refers to a girl or a female, and we have hero. So Shiros means trying to educate and mentor and train girls to become heroes in the field of STEM. So the whole project is a transformative initiative by the Molex Foundation Africa, and its main aim is to bridge the gap that we have in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now, the mission of this project is to empower and inspire young girls so that they can develop and pursue the STEM fields. And it is linked to the SDGs goal 4, that is quality education, and then goal 5, gender equality. So we have about 5 objectives or vision statement of the project. So first of all, we want to inspire and empower girls to pursue and excel in STEM pathways, to build STEM identity, spike their confidence and leadership skills among girls, also to provide hands-on exposure to electronics, robotics, and environmental technology. And as the presentation goes on, you testify to why we have these objectives over here. Also to develop girls as innovators, problem solvers, and community change agents. And also to create clear pathways into advanced STEM education, TVET, and entrepreneurship. So the project also seeks to bring on board mentorship sessions. So normally what we do is that before we start to train them, before we start to take them through the practicals, we provide them with mentorship sessions, which earlier I will speak more to it. We also allow them to take part in various leadership roles as the project is ongoing. We train them also in public speaking, and then we also equip them with ethical leadership to become responsible innovators. So in 2024, the Shiros in STEM project was launched at the University of Cape Coast School of Medical Sciences Auditorium. So we had about 500 girls from various senior high schools in the central and western region participating. We also have diverse stakeholders to come and then add their voices to the launch. So we had traditional leaders, we had women who are doing so well in the field of STEM, who came to grace the occasion. The obvious one here is the current Chief Executive Officer of Ghana's Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Nanama Brown Kluche was there, and other invited dignitaries who came to grace the occasion. So we launched the program, and then that same year, we had our first Shiros in STEM cohort 1. Yeah, so that was when the program was launched. Please, can we move on to the next slide? So, like I mentioned earlier, we had various speakers. Now, all these speakers are people who are in the STEM field, because like we've been talking about mentorship. So we just didn't invite them. We invited them also to talk to them and also serve as mentors. So we had Professor Nanama Brown Kluche come in. We also have Ms. Adelaide Asantewa Asante. She is the head of West Africa Office for UK Ecology and Hydrology. We had Dr. Irene Kafi. She's a professor of statistics at the University of Cape Coast. We had Dr. A.C. Regina Texan. She's also a computer science lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. And then we have Sarah Dimatazi. She's the programs manager, Women in STEM, of the Henry Luce Foundation in the United States of America. They were all there to mentor them. So after the launch, we have to train our facilitators who are going to also train. So it's like training for, is it trainers or trainees, for lack of better words. So they were all there. We had almost a 2-week training session for them. We took them through coding, robotics, AI, just to also equip them with the knowledge, because they are all part of the foundation, so that they will in turn channel it to the girls when the training starts. So after the training, then we had our Shiros in STEM Bootcamp Cohort 1. So this was the arrival date. As you can see, we received them, and then that evening we gave them the ground rules. You know, we are dealing with girls, and so wherever there are people, you have to lay down give them some orientation and all of that. So as you can see, we had a lot of Molex Foundation Africa executives and facilitators ushering the participants in. So this was the first day of our arrival. As you can see, our founder and chief executive officer, who's here with us today, Dr. Patrick Asian, please the next slide, was there to the first day, welcome the participants, and then also give them some motivation before officially the training starts. So these are lab sessions that they went through, and we equipped or we trained the students in Arduino technology, artificial intelligence, and then robotics. So in fact, the training is hands-on. This year we are going to have our cohort 3. Last year we had cohort 2. This year we're going to have the cohort 3. And I'm sure at the University of Cape Coast. And I'll be very happy to see some of you there to come and testify, for yourselves. It's really hands-on, because I heard our mama talking about stereotypes, that we need intentionality. We cannot be intentional or try to fight stereotyping if they don't have the skill. So always it is the skill that should be acquired first, then the issue of intentionality or even gender quota can be talked about. So all this is to show the various hands-on training that we take them through at the training. Please, next slide. Now, the day before their departure, we have what we call exhibition. So we group the participants into various groups, about 10, 15, and then they all come up with a project. Now, that project is intended to solve a societal problem. So it is not just any project that you do. The project that you are going to do, you should be able to contribute to environmental, sustainability, climate change, or anything affecting sustainability. So all of them will come, they show us what they are doing, and then they exhibit to us. Please, the next slide. So last year was Shiro's in STEM Bootcamp Cohort 2. Now, in the first year, we hosted 60 girls from the central and then the western region, because it's more of a pilot stage. We needed to see how the project will go. So after the program, during our evaluation, we saw the need to expand the project. So this time around, instead of we going to schools to invite them, we opened an application. So we had girls across the country applying for the project. So the selection was very fair and then free. So we had girls coming from the north, every part of the country. So they also reported, and then on the following day, we started the training. So last year, cohort 2, we hosted 100 girls. So we increased it from 60 to 100. It is our, thank you. It is our goal. It is a 5-year project. So by 2028, 2029, we are going to have the cohort 5. And at the end of the project, we are expecting to train 500 girls across the country. So, thank you. So we teach them robotics, Arduino basics, coding, electronic assembling, and so on and so forth. Somebody will ask, but how will you be able to take them through all of this? Like I mentioned earlier, it is hands-on. The only break they get is to eat. So it is hands-on, and so we are able to take them through everything that we have listed over here. Please, next slide. So at the end of the day, they'll be able to know or chalk all these skills. Electronic assembling, they'll be able to code, they'll be able to design basic circuits, there will be that teamwork. And you see, it is not just about teaching them STEM, we also teach them how to work together, teamwork, because we believe no man is an island for him or herself. And so individually, we can solve societal problems. So we let them understand the essence of having teamwork or working together as a team. Next slide, please. So these are the projects that they designed. So they have smart house, smart dustbin. So the smart dustbin, what it does is that they were able to design a dustbin that segregates waste. So they will have dustbin specifically for plastic, another for metal, another for. So if you are coming to dump, let's say, a plastic into a dustbin that accepts only metals, the dustbin or the sensor is going to reject the plastic. So they were able to do that also. We also had smart traffic, Mulex T rover, remote pulse control, and so on and so forth. So these are the explanation of the project that they were able to do. So the T rover was to help curb the issue of illegal mining. So instead of sending Operation, what's the name of the Operation Vanguard and Operation what? The soldiers they've been sending to the 9 malls and so on and so forth. Some are being killed and all of that. We can use STEM to solve that problem. So we can just send this T rover. It will just go to the Galamsey site and capture them. So we know that, okay, when you go to where Chairman Woon to me was, is it Summer Boy, right? I'm not sounding political, but he was there. So you just capture it over here and send the data straight to the head office in Accra. You go to, let's say, Tano River Pra. So they will just be there, and one day you just go and read them off. So that is what the Mulex T rover is intended to do. Please, the next slide. So I've already explained the smart dustbin. The next one, please. I'm sure we've all heard of greenhouse gas, okay, and its relation to climate change. So they were also able to come up with a greenhouse gas monitor that is going to monitor greenhouse gases. The next one, please. Pulse monitoring. We all know pulse monitoring. The next one, please, because of time. Yeah, and then we also had smart traffic. It is only in Ghana that at a point in time, you see a policeman not obeying the traffic. Though the traffic is green, but he will use his authority and say, you, this road, wait, then, you know, but if we have a traffic that is very smart, we don't even need a police officer to come and stand there and say, those coming this way, wait, and all of that. I think there's a traffic light. I don't know, those of you are very, very familiar with the Teshi stretch. I'm told for like 10 years now, it's not working. And so when you get there, it's like an organized chaos. You know, everybody is trying to find their way through. But when we have traffic that are very smart, we don't have to go through all of those stress. The next slide, please. So we also have a smart house. When we say a smart house, it is a house that is almost having, you know, everything that is going to contribute to the sustainability of the, environment. Next one, please. Now, why the Shiro's project? So we've come to believe that STEM can be a tool to solve Africans' problems. We don't necessarily need prayers. Sometimes a lot of the things we use prayers to do, STEM can actually solve those problems. Also, hands-on experience. There's a mentor, a godfather of Dr. Isen, I know, he's called Engineer Dr. Kojo Texan. He can't talk to you 2 minutes without talking about hands-on. You know, we need to spike their interest. We need to do something with our hands. I'm not saying those who are reading the theories are not doing so well. I read political science until I graduated, and I saw that, no, I mean, I need to do something that will, you know, provoke my thought and use my hands, you know, to solve a problem. Hence, STEM and then climate change. I'm not saying don't go and read political science. You can. And then also to encourage team-based innovation, and then also give students the ownership of learning. Next slide, please. I spoke about mentorship. So, you know, before the program starts, these are girls coming from various communities, and it will surprise you to know some of them, before coming, they have not seen computer before. They've not seen money. They don't know anything. Even though some of them are science students, even though some of them are visual art, and so it's just the handout that they are reading and learning. So on the first day of the training, we will bring various mentors to come and spike their interest, to come and mentor them about the benefit of what they are coming to learn. We don't only bring STEM experts, we also bring psychologists, people to come and psych them about what they are coming to do. Because it will surprise you to know, some of them, they'll just see the lab and then they become frightened. So we have to psych and spike their interest in what they are coming to do. So that's what we do with the mentorship. Next slide, please. So these are various mentorship sessions that they went on. Now, this slide has to do with our closing ceremony for the cohort 2. So we also had various stakeholders coming to grace the occasion. We had experts from the legal fields, we had politicians, because we realized that as a foundation, we cannot solve the problem alone. We need to come together and form a chain to tackle the issue of environmental sustainability using STEM. So on the 19th of September last year, we had our closing ceremony at Tank Palace Hotel here in Accra. The girls also had the opportunity to showcase their various projects that they have done and then all of that. Thank you so much for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a few questions for Mr. Dominic, it's quite a lot he's expanded on. Please, the Molex Foundation is doing so much. Please, clap for them again. And for the students here, I know that it has probably piqued your interest with the geography, because the girls that they're working with in the boot camps appear to be doing a lot of what you may want to do. If you want to build an AI, you were talking about maps, right? A map system. You should probably contact the Molex Foundation so that they mentor you. And the Molex T Rover, hey, Charlie. But any questions from the Molex Foundation? Okay, Dr. Essien and his team. Wonderful work, really wonderful.
All right, thank you so much for the presentation. Aiko. In fact, your presentation really shows that these are practical things that the foundation is doing to solve a real-time problems. Now, with the things that the students, the girls are actually developing, my question is that after their sections, do the foundation engage government, as in policymakers, people who that can help the policy go for us to integrate these things in our curriculum? The earlier speakers mentioned our curriculum not being only theoretical aspect of it, but the practical aspect of it. If the foundation has not done that, then I would suggest that they do that, because these are practical things. You know, me, I'm in the TVET space, and I'm the president for the technical student in Ghana. And so we are also doing a campaign that choose TVET first. Choose TVET first. It's all about practical, getting the skills. And so if the foundation has not done that, I will plead and suggest that they should engage the government. Thank you.
Thank you. So engage the government, and maybe if they get support, they scale it across the board in every region in the schools. Okay. More questions from the TVET.
So I prefer to stand, because with this, I want to commend Molex Foundation for the good work that they are doing. I think you are doing a great job. And if you need volunteers from the technical space, we are ready to also volunteer to ensure that you do that greatly. But my key concern has to do with how you manage this these ladies. Some of them are very, very sensitive. Yesterday, I was with my WUCOM at Kumasi Technical University. She leads, that was the summit. She leads, that was the title of the summit. Would you imagine that after the program, some of these few ladies took my number from someone, I don't know where they took the number from, and I wasn't happy with some of the texts that were coming. So it means that there might be a lot we are going through with managing these few ladies, and I think you have to manage them emotionally and psychologically. And to conclude with, Dr. Essen is always a father. His doors are open. Probably maybe students from UG might not know. We knock at his door every day. When it has to do with TVET, he comes in to help us do TVET. So from this day, the Ghana National Union of Technical Students is open to relate with UG, so as we all collaborate with Molex Foundation to do a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So students, UPSA, UG, you're hearing Molex and the Ghana National Union of Technical Students.
Okay, thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to the organizers of this conference, and then also to the speakers from yesterday up to today's day. We have been listening to a lot of lessons that have been taught on this STEM issue. So my name is Jehawa Johnson, President, and I'm from Liberia. Yes. So I want to say thank you to the presenters. The STEM issue has become a very important issue in Africa. And there's a saying that says, if you go out and learn, when you come back in your own country, you should be able to implement what you have learned. So this STEM issue started from the Western world, wherein women has already gone above what we are doing now. And then they also encourage we as the Black to get involved. So others went there and studied, and they came back in their country and tried to implement it. And so Ghana has also started a process. And Liberia is trying, but we need more. Yes, so I've attended this conference. It's good. I actually appreciate the organizers. So the question now is that this program, is it only limited within Ghana, or is there a plan to take it across Africa? Because we actually need it in Liberia. I'm from an organization called Liberia for One Africa, and then we support women empowerment, youth leadership, and community development. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you from our Liberia friends here. Look, I am a Mandela Washington Fellow, and I can, the U.S. Department of State, and I can tell you what the power of collaborations mean. And so I'm sure that Molex Foundation and all gathered here, the organizations, will take you up on the offer to expand to Liberia, because it's an African problem, and so we need to solve it across the board. The opportunities are endless. But over to you.
Thank you very much for the questions and the contributions. So the first one has to do with policy advice. Maybe I should move on to the second one, because the person who asked that question, I think, has stepped out. And it's good I answer in his presence. So let me answer the second one. That has to do with how we manage the female student. It's not easy. I must be honest with you. It's not easy. So even within we, the facilitators, we actually psych and train ourselves so well. Thankfully, our lead or the coordinator for this program, she's a gender advocate. She has worked with the gender industry. So when it comes to issues of girls, she really understands it so well. She has been the Central Regional Coordinator for Camfed, and so she's a master. Even with that, still, there are problems. But believe me, we don't joke. So upon arrival, you come with your head teacher and your parent. So we have an agreement, we sign, we ensure, and every student, we have about 20 chaperones. So we group them each chaperone is to almost 3 to 4 girls, and they sleep in the same room. And until they sleep, the chaperone stays awake. Now, when you take a leave of us before or without our authority, we sack you. And when we are sacking you, we call your school that this is what and what you have done. And then last year, I think it happened. It's nearly one Wesley girl, the school authorities will have to come in, and then she just went out to, I think, buy something without our permission. So we keep our eye on them. And thank God we've not had any issue. On the final day of departure, this is what we do. Before you get home, we have already informed your parents that we are done with the training and we've seen them off. So expect your word today, and we will follow up until the word gets to the parents. So that is what we do. But of course, if you have any idea, you can still share with us. And then, now, Chief, you are here, so let me answer your question. You stepped out. So, issue with policymakers and trying to integrate that into what we do in school. So there's always a first time, we believe. So with cohort 1, of course, we sought some counsel and advice. But with cohort 2, we spoke to policymakers. I remember we visited some institutions like the Ministry of Education. We even went to TTEL. You know TTEL? Yes, we went to see them. We even chanced on to meet at the time, the director, the GES director, the whole country. We met him. He gave us our input, his input, sorry. We met TTEL. We spoke with them. We've gone to TVET, CTVET, and all of that. So they gave us the advice, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Some even advised that, okay, we should tackle them from the junior high school, even before they get to senior high school, so that when they get there, they already know what they are doing. So we are working on that one. The issue of networking and collaboration, it's very, very important. And as our madam said, it's very important that we are able to build that chain going forward. So I'm sure we can talk about that after the seminar, and then we can create some. Dr. Isen will speak to that. So Doc, you can walk here and answer to that. And also to do we have UG students here? Yeah, so Molex Foundation, we have an association in school. So we have one at UCC and one at University of Ghana. So we can talk after the conference and we see how we can bring you on board. Thank you.
So I'll be happy to say that the first president of the UG chapter is now in the UK doing her master's, and she was the master of ceremony with Dominic during the launching of the Shirus in STEM. Okay, so for the policy, like Dominic said, we've been to a lot of institutions, Ghana Education Service and then others. I was in Dr. Tanko's office, myself. I also met with the Deputy Minister of Communication, Suparo. He's my friend, and we've spoken about this. So when they showed the slides on the closing ceremony, you saw the rep of girls in STEM in Ghana. So it's like we've done a lot. And every journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Yesterday, I was fortunate to meet people from Ministry of Education. We exchanged contact and then other things. Maybe if you are to pass there, maybe in the next few weeks, you will meet me in their offices. We are talking, then see how it goes. The issue of the girls, we are aware about how dangerous it is to handle girls, especially at that age. Fortunately enough, about 5 of our board members are females. The board chair is a captain in Ghana Armed Forces. And then we have one who is also a medical doctor at 37 Military Hospital. We have another board member who is also flight lieutenant in Takoradi Air Force Base. And then we have others. Our executive director is the Central Regional Director of Department of Children. And one interesting thing is that during the Shiros in STEM, that 2 weeks, we all take our annual leave. So when you come there, you are coming to see all the board members. We have nurses who are part of the facilitators and then board members. So when they even come, they do health screening and then other things before we start the main program. Molex Foundation is for Africa. Actually, we are looking for a situation whereby we can extend it to all the other countries. Either we go there or we do it here and then we bring the participant. So like he said, we can talk and see what to do. We know Liberia, at least you have a lot of cash because you also have gold and then others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick Essien and Mr. Desmond. Please, let's do it better for the Molex Foundation and the presentation by Dominic Ebo Ahe and Dr. Patrick Essien, who ceded his presentation to him, the co-founder. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to the last bit of presentation and then we'll wrap up with a panel discussion. And this time around is a dual presentation who are coming up this afternoon. Deborah Nisi Boafo and Bismarck Eshan. Bismarck Eshan is the conference manager, but he's going to join Deborah to do a Ghana Green Scholars Program, Advancing Girls' Empowerment Through STEM for Environmental Sustainability. That's what the presentation is going to be on, the Ghana Green Scholars Program, Advancing Girls' Empowerment Through STEM for Environmental Sustainability. Deborah, please join me. Bismarck as well. Are you doing it alone? You're doing it with Bismarck. Okay. Bismarck Eshan, please join us. Okay, great.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. Before we start our presentation, we'd like to watch a short video. Thank you. Can we get sound for the video, please?
There was a mother who was always giving her son instructions. Turn off the fan when you're not using it. The TV is playing in an empty room. Go and switch it off. Don't waste so much water. These were the lines the young man heard again and again from his mother. To him, it all sounded like meaningless complaints. Deep inside, he would think, one day I'll leave this house. I want to live without all this nagging. Then finally, the big day arrived. A job interview. While fixing his clothes, he told himself, as soon as I get this job, I'll leave this city and finally live in peace, away from my mother's constant demands. Before leaving, she said firmly, son, answer confidently, even if you don't know something, never doubt yourself. When he reached the company building, there was no one at the entrance. The door was left open. He heard his mother's voice in his mind, and without thinking, gently closed it. In the courtyard, he noticed beautiful flowers, but the hose was left running, water spilling everywhere. He picked it up and directed it toward the dry plants. On the stairs, he saw a light on in broad daylight. He sighed, but turned it off. In the hallway, the welcome mat was upside down. He fixed it. Then he sat and waited for his turn among many other candidates. When his turn finally came, he walked in and was surprised. The interviewer didn't take his documents, didn't ask any technical questions. He only asked, when can you start? Shocked, the young man stuttered, but you didn't even ask me anything. The man smiled and said, we don't hire based on answers. We observe attitude from the moment you walk in. We saw how you closed the door, took care of the flowers, turned off the light, and fixed the mat. No one else did that. and that's why the job is yours. At that moment, the young man's eyes filled with tears. All those lessons that once annoyed him so much in childhood now appeared as a treasure. He realized that the small things he once ignored were actually the foundation of his future. Moral of the story: the discipline that feels heavy today is the same discipline that will open doors for you tomorrow. What feels like nagging today, one day you will understand as love. Don't.
Thank you very much. I believe we all have grabbed the moral lesson of the story. As human beings, we have no choice than to be bound by rules all the time, whether physical rules or imaginary rules. We are definitely guided by rules in life. Okay. So all we are trying to say today is let's not take these small rules and small things for granted. We attend conferences, we do a lot of, moving around. We hear stories, we hear experiences from people. Let's not take them for granted. Like the story, these small things are what is building our foundation for the future. And that is what we are here for. That is what Ghana Green Scholars Program is about. We are here to, there's an initiative that we have come up with, and it is meant to come and teach us as youth, as young people. We are starting with the secondary schools though, but it's for everybody. Nobody is too small or too old or too young for it. It's for everybody. We want to encourage people that these small lessons we are learning everywhere, let's not take them for granted. That is what is building our future. It's the foundation for our future. And one day, just one day, you will reap from all these small gatherings, all these, instructions we are getting here and there. We will reap the fruit thereof. Thank you very much. So Green Scholars Program, dubbed the Green Future or Green Futures for our youth. It's a program that was initiated by PAC Policy, established and initiated by PAC Policy. And PAC Policy Ghana partnered with Drasi Africa to implement this program. And it's an initiative that is, as I said earlier, starting from the secondary schools across Ghana, and it aims to strengthen environmental education and climate change initiatives, create awareness, and then also help in sustainable practices across in life, generally in life, and across Ghana. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So, how the Green Scholars Program is here to promote girls' empowerment through STEM and environmental solutions. The relationship between environmental sustainability and girls' empowerment through STEM has become increasingly very important, increasingly important in Ghana, not just in Ghana, but the whole world. And some of these programs, which is the Green Scholars Program and other programs that we are all witnessing or hearing about, is come to address some of these challenges that we have with girls' empowerment through STEM. We all know about pollution and flooding and deforestation issues, waste management problems all over, and water insecurity continue to affect. We know it continues to affect our communities badly. And we are here to help with this initiative to help empower our ladies, our girls, to help in curbing some of these issues we have. Okay, let me see something. Okay. Climate change, pollution, flooding, deforestation, as I said earlier, waste management issues, problems, and water insecurity continue to affect our communities across Ghana and across some parts of Africa and the world at large. And at the same time, girls remain the most affected and underrepresented in STEM education and industrial or institutional, but cultural careers due to social and cultural, economic, and institutional barriers. So Ghana's Green Scholars Program has come to address some of these challenges, to seek to address both challenges at once. I mean, with the issue of our climate change problems, and then the issue of STEM education, girls being underrepresented in STEM education. So in terms of equipping girls with STEM knowledge and then environmental awareness, we are here to encourage female participation in climate actions, climate innovation. We are here to build leadership and problem-solving innovation among our women and our leaders. So, understanding the Ghana Green Scholars Program. This is a collaborative national effort, and it seeks to empower young people to contribute to environmental sustainability and climate action through education, through innovation, and practical engagement. It was launched on the 25th of March this year, 2026. And as I said earlier, it's a partnership between Park Policy and Drassi Africa. And through this program, we are targeting youth generally, but girls are our focus as well, not just the youth, but girls are our focus as well. And we hope to align strongly with girls' empowerment initiatives so that we can encourage our females to participate in science and environmental leadership. Environmental challenges require scientific and technological approaches. STEM provides the tools needed and to solve environmental problems and solve most ecological problems. So STEM education is very important, and especially among our ladies, is very important in helping to curb the environmental issues that we have in all around. And we have, okay, so science, STEM, in terms of science, we have climate research, biodiversity protection, and pollution studies. That is where science addresses climate issues. And technology also addresses the issues of renewable energy systems and climate apps. And in terms of engineering, we also have waste management systems and then water purification and green buildings. In terms of mathematics, STEM is addressing climate modeling, it's addressing environmental statistics and resource forecasting. Let's go to the next slide. So my friend will continue.
So with the Green Scholars Program, which target is going to be the SHS students, we are going to equip students with the necessary tools and then the knowledge. So we'll be partnering with other institutions to help us achieve this goal, where we'll be providing students with practical knowledge and practical skills, be able to identify the problem that we are facing, and then how to address those challenges using scientific knowledge. So we'll be teaching them problem identification, data analysis, and then even how to use AI. Now AI has come to stay. We are in the era of AI where if we are able to harness the power or the tool of AI, we'll be able to do much. So through these projects, we'll be launching a lot of clubs in the SHS, and then there'll be a lot of mentoring for the young children. We actually chose SHS because we want to bring climate issues to the next generation. They are our primary focus. If we're able to mentor them, if we're able to give them the right tools, they'll be able to come up with good solutions. Yeah. So this has been spoken about a lot, why that we are focusing on girls' empowerment in STEM matters in Ghana. Gender stereotype, financial challenges, limited access to STEM resources, early marriage pressures, lack of female role models. Some of these issues have been spoken a lot, so I won't
waste so much time on it. But then these are some of the challenges that we are trying to address. So that's how come the mentorship programs are also going to be part of our project, where we are not just going to give out knowledge, but then there will be mentors assigned to some of these girls or students in the SHS schools. That will actually help them shape their career path and then make the necessary decisions. Yeah, the next slide. So some of the barriers the barriers faced by girls in STEM, the cultural expectation. One of our speakers spoke about that. Limited mentorship, it's very important. Low access to technology, economic constraints, all these issues leads to reduced female participation in STEM. So through this Green Scholars initiative, which we are hoping that by the end of this conference, we will get some partners from here, some of the NGOs here, the policymakers, and then the ministry. Yesterday, the Minister of Education was here. I got some contacts. I'll be following up on her on that with regards to this, so that we will know how to address some of these challenges. If we can push that climate issue should be part of our curriculum. Climate injustice should be looked at and all that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we will be sending a link to the application that we've created. We've created a platform for students to sign up, which is solely meant for climate issues, where we are going to discuss climate stuff. Our mentors are going to be there. So when you sign up, the platform is actually moderated, strictly moderated, because everything that should be discussed on our platform should be related to climate change or climate issues, should be related to STEM education. So anything aside that, we are going to flag it. Yeah. Thank you. Right.
Last slide, please. Okay, so we would like to conclude our presentation. So in conclusion, we would like to say that the future of Ghana, Ghana's environment, sustainability depends on our youth and the innovation we bring on board, and then gender inclusion, which is why we are here, STEM empowerment in girls. So let's all work together, help empower our girls in STEM education, and help to curb the climate problems and climate change problems that we have in Ghana. And some of these platforms, which is like the Green Scholars Program, is one big platform we can do that. So when we bring the program, let's all help to collaborate and do this to help climate change issues in Ghana to be dealt with properly. And with our girls at the forefront, we know that we can do a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deborah and Bismarck. They have put together this two-day conference from yesterday. Please give them another round of applause. They've been working on the grounds, putting logistics and everything together, and so coming to do the presentation. We're going into the panel now, and so I'll cede over to Madame Awo Adam, who is going to call the panel members to come here so that the panel discussion starts. right now. Madam O, our time is quite limited. I'm sure you help us do 10 minutes or less. Your panel members want to run away.
To allow Dr. AC to take all the time. Now, this one you are saying it. You see, he's not even here. I was calling him out because of that. It looks like all the panelists are gone.
They are outside. They are outside. Mr. Salami, please call Mr. Salami. Does one of your panel members the president?
Can we have Dr. Solomon Kojo Hagen? Mr. Samuel Kenneth Salami. Mr. Gati Delali Kofi. Mr. Mahama Abudu. I presume Charlotte also answer. Okay. You see, from what you could observe, we prioritize presentations over pragmatism, because now if you heard something in the presentation and it's bothering you, or you need a clarification, this is the time to engage. But we are good. Can we center ourselves so that at least you give us a good photo? So we'll try to be. Anybody here who would like to join them? A female for that matter. Anybody?
You're actually welcome.
Sorry.
She's coming.
Sister, we are waiting for you. She doesn't want to come. Okay. So, okay, they are now miking you guys.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So, in fact, what we're going to discuss now will form part of the recommendations for today's presentations or today's session. So, essentially, or what I'm trying to say is that we'll be practical. I'll be putting you on the spot, but you have to just bear with me. Can one person?
Yes.
No, like she comes in between. All right. So, since yesterday, we've been talking about empowering girls through STEM for environmental solutions, lifelong learning as a catalyst for sustainable change. And you've walked us through a number of presentations this morning. This is actually the practicum of all the lectures you've given us, and it will dovetail into our recommendations, be it at the policy level and all of that. Earlier on, yesterday, Dr. Essien recommended a girl-focused curriculum as a policy reform for STEM inclusion. So, on that score, I need each of you to give me, yeah, we'll have 4, one practical strategy. One practical strategy that schools, families, or communities could use to encourage more girls to pursue STEM or STEM for environmental problem solving. So we need one strategy from each of you. We'll have 4 at the end of the day, which will help, be it at the school level, community level, at the family level, to make girls pursue or aspire for STE.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. So, to me, I believe that STEM education is very crucial if we really would want to see development or a sustainable development within the Ghanaian terrain. Then we need to champion STEM education. And I believe that from the community level, even from the school level, one prioritized step we can take is to introduce, or let me say, strengthen what we call a merit-based scholarship. I believe that if a girl child should come out of her comfort zone, put in so much effort in terms of trying to learn science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and comes out with a wonderful grade, he or she deserves to be funded. Okay, he or she deserves to be funded to be able to give that girl child that kind of zeal to continue doing more. But mostly we look at the fact that mostly in our schools, the girl child performs so well and we applaud. Like there are applaud, even with the University of Ghana as example. I don't see we trying to create any level of scholarship scheme for girls that prioritize well at the end of their school, their stay in the university. You see a lady reading a valedictorian speech so well, coming out with excellent grade, GPA, point average, and all that. Then right after that, you realize that the same girl is working with her mother, maybe trying to support her mother 2-3 years after school. Let's ask ourselves that. What is the knowledge he or she has acquired? What is she using it for? But here is the case that if we have a prioritized merit-based scholarship scheme, that says that right after the girl child gets to this point of grade point average and graduates so well, she's automatically going to be enrolled in maybe a master's degree program, a straight PhD degree program, a skills-based program that would earn her a skill to be able to contribute to society. So I believe that merit-based scholarship is the way to go.
All right, thank you. Sis.
Okay, it's a little close to what he has already suggested. I think that at the school level, if the school system can be such that the STEM for girls is meant to be cheaper in terms of tuition than the other arts-related courses, because when we have that incentive, I think it will encourage the girls to want to go into STEM-related courses. That is, you ask for what strategy.
Yes.
I think I have given one.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I think you can keep it to account, but
You want to jump the gun?
What to jump? Okay. Okay. So one strategy or pathway I see is introducing hands-on real-world experience at an early age, that's primary JHS, before you get into university. We can have school projects, community projects that incorporate help the children address their community issues, helping to map flood prone areas, come up with water quality testing, make it simple, make it fun for the students. They don't see it as just formulas. You can't aspire to what you've not experienced. So as people growing up, if they are involved in these things, I believe they will cooperate with them also. And by the time you get to university, they will not feel deterred or disturbed.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I will mention that one, there should be a fund where it will cater for equipment and things that will help the girl child to have a hands-on skills that the child doesn't need to get there. Now they will not be thinking, how do we bring equipment and other things for the girl child to now learn? When this fund is there, it will cater for all the things.
How different is
So,
that
for
from
instance,
how different is that from the incentivized?
Okay, so let's say for instance, currently we are pushing for TVET fund.
Okay.
Now this TVET fund, it comes to talk about the infrastructure, the equipment, the laboratory. So everything, that fund is being channeled specifically for things that pertain to skills. We are having a sports fund, so it means everything about that fund is going to sports. So this is basically going directly to the STEM, things about STEM. Okay. How do I put it? The scholarship is something that individually or government can give, but this fund is dedicated money for this particular thing. Then I also want to add briefly to what my earlier speakers spoke about, that is the curriculum. You know, I happen to be a teacher by profession, so I can talk about this. You know, before the creative arts that we used to teach our students in school, the curriculum now, permission to say that it's tough. Why do I say that? You know, when you take these books that we are to use to teach the student, if you, the teacher teaching, you don't have the skills to teach, you take the book, there's nothing inside. So it means that the curriculum, our textbooks, should also come to help the skills that we're supposed to teach these girls.
So has it got to do with relevance or appropriateness? Relevance or appropriateness?
So I would say both in a way.
Okay, thank you. So for want of time, I would leave it there. Maybe after we'll talk with Bismarck for you to express yourself better on that. Now, one way or one recommendation for this one. How can we strengthen collaboration among government, stakeholders for that matter, government, academia, industry, schools, and local communities to support girls to take action when it comes to STEM, or to support girls in STEM action? Does it make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. So
We can start from him because you received the first bullet, so you should receive this one. If you don't mind, but you could have it if you.
So I always have this conversation. I say that mostly with these various stakeholders in the development of curriculum. Okay, I don't know if there is some sort of engagement before such curriculum are developed. So in my own sense, I believe that if we want to have this interconnectivity and interplay that should have an actionable effect on a girl child, then we need to revisit a collaborative stakeholder engagement that factors diversified knowledge to make sure that the girl child puts in actionable efforts at the end of the day. So in developing the curriculum, if you are taking the academia perspective in scope, We are taking that of the government's perspective instead, the policymaker, even the researcher, going back to even what the parents would want their children to do in terms of the STEM action point of view. Then we could now say that based on all these collaborative ideas, we have a clear roadmap for the girl child to be there. And that is what I believe.
Okay. You've given back to me what I gave you, but I will try and make something out of it. Yes, sister.
If I'm not mistaken, you asked how government, academia, and the industry
Industry, schools, and community can work
together to promote STEM for girls.
Yeah, for girls action, for girls to take action. So it's more like having them participate, but then it's not it's not ending at participation. The participation should give results.
Okay. Yes, like I said earlier, one of the things that stood out for me yesterday was that emphasis on knowledge for impact. So, you know, this thing, the whole world is talking about collaboration between academia, community, industry, and government. I think they call it the triple helix. So it's important for the academia to go back to the field and find out the gaps, those gaps that are inherent in girl-child STEM, education. There are some gaps that in-depth study, like what our brother has done. It is those gaps that will be taken back to the policymakers, will be taken back to industry players for action to be taken. So I think that there is a lot of work that should be done by researchers to identify those areas where action should be taken.
So a longitudinal study to inform policy action, to inform curriculum development, and every other thing. Mr. Salami.
Okay, so my recommendation would be mostly it's a bit of collaboration, because looking at the various stakeholders, some might make a move or come in when another stakeholder has already taken that step to encourage them. So if government looks at policies or makes investments towards them, not just in school but out of school. You know, when you come out of the university, you are guaranteed a job or you are guaranteed something to apply your skills. The policies, when the schools or institutions also see that these policies are there or these opportunities are there, you are encouraged to bring out quality STEM courses that will bring on more students. Looking at this, so the NGOs, the CSOs also come in with mentorships, sponsorships, scholarships to support these initiatives. And then the community also, community of family comes in the part of breaking certain stereotypes, also instilling the local knowledge into the girls. So I think all this coming together will create a good formula to empower the girls.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you too. I would say we can have a long-term plan and a short-term plan. So with the short-term plan, there can be a competition that will be given to the girls about a particular project.
Yeah. Make that a recommendation for me, because it's sounding more of a strategy than the recommendation. So make it a recommendation.
A recommendation?
Yes.
Yes. That the communities bring out that, or the Ministry of Education bring out that between two schools. Or
Would you say that if we should have, say, a community bylaw saying that all the people in Lankwantana should organize STEM competition, once every quarter or once every other quarter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. So there's a third question, but I need you to think about that very well, because it's as if your organizations you represent are going to make commitments. So you think about it, and you have the opportunity to mention where you work and then put forward your intervention. Okay, because I didn't introduce you by that, so that's how we can kill time to do that. But before that particular question, how can environmental education be made inclusive, relevant, and action-oriented for girls and young people? How can environmental education be made inclusive, relevant, and action-oriented for girls and young people?
Okay. Thank you very much. I work with the Environmental Protection Authority. And so in a form of a capacity arrangement that should toll towards the question you are asking me, we at EPA have a climate change office. Yes. And one responsibility of the climate change office is to make sure that environmental awareness is enhanced, whether national level, community-based level, the girl child, holistically. And so if you ask me, I would say that if we would want to bridge this gap, then one, we need to create a space to hear, and let me say, we are creating a space in the form of using the relevant medias to channel this communication. I always ask myself that, have we ever had a brief time with respect to morning shows that happen in Ghana to discuss anything in relevance to environmental awareness? I have not heard it. Maybe something is happening like that, but I don't know of. But mostly when I watch TV stations, I listen to radio, I have not really come across maybe a brief time where we champion actions about environmental awareness to discuss if what exactly do we know already? What exactly is there to be known? And what is the misconceptions even people have about certain environmental lifestyle or certain environmental strategies that we need to correct? At the end of the day, I believe the media needs to play a role, and we as let me say stakeholders with the institutions should give up the awakening call. So I believe when the awakening call comes and the media also supports, gradually we will get there. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I think that it will become relevant, environmental education will become relevant to the girl child when it speaks to their needs and the gender roles associated with girls. For example, yesterday, I don't know who it was who mentioned that banana stalk was being used to process sanitary toys. Yes. I think we need to change some of these, the complexities around this environmental education. You hear climate change, sometimes you don't even know, a girl may not even know how the firewood from her grandma's kitchen contributes to emissions, that deplete the ozone layer. So these are things that need to be broken down for them to understand how the flower that she plants as helping her mom in the backyard farm was spoken so much about yesterday, how those plants in the backyard farm can absorb the carbon dioxide, and then help to promote clean energy. So when these things are broken down, tied to their roles as a girl child, that is the gender female roles, and they are simpler to understand. And then how it benefits, this knowledge benefits them. I think they will be, anything that it benefits us, I think it's likely to get our attention and participation. So I think that is one way through which we can get this action.
Thank you.
So I believe in practicality. So I think providing the agency for girls to really appreciate whatever they've learned, that's awareness has been created, campaigns have been done. Yes, they know this is what is causing this environmental challenge, this is what is happening around. But how does that affect me, and how do I also help to fight it? So creating agencies where the girls in the community or the kids in the community are brought in, they help with, as I said, some practicality like water quality tests, and make it safe fun to them, but they are learning. The mapping, prone areas, all this is creating the agency for them. So while they are in the practicality, it instills all this in them to ensure that as they're growing up, they see it more than as a reality than just something they are hearing about or seeing in books.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Please, I actually want to get a question clear before. You see, how can an environmental education be made inclusive for girl child?
Inclusive, relevant, and action-oriented.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So we are talking about the action-oriented here to be the focus because the girl child.
Inclusive is one focus.
Yes. So we are looking at
Relevance is one
inclusivity,
focus, and then
the action, and
action-oriented.
then that of the girl child.
Yes.
So now I would say that right from the beginning when the girl child start developing some interest in some particular field of studies, and we can attest to the fact that these studies are related to the STEM program. Earlier speakers mentioned that then we start bringing the agency in it whereby we make them know that no, this particular thing, this is the benefit it brings. Now this benefit, this is its effects. You see, sometimes we want to make things known to the people as we want to hide the disadvantage. We want to hide the disadvantage, but we make the thing known. For instance, Mr. Samuel mentioned, if a girl child is planting or has planted a tree and is nurturing that tree, that is, he wants to help that oxygen, our oxygen level in the country, or the air we breathe is very conducive. Then she knows the reason for doing that because he has to release the carbon dioxide and we take in the oxygen. Now, if the girl child is made to know right from the beginning, because earlier I mentioned that the subject or the field the girl child start developing, then we push the person inside that this is what you have to do, this is the effect, and this is how it affects the human, and then from there, things are going to be done at the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. I think my microphone is off, so to speak. Yes, so now this question is your last question, which I said before you respond, mention your full name, the institution you represent, and then make the commitment. But if you know that the commitment will have implication for you, you could tell us you defer. Okay? So, a commitment each. So, what commitment will you make as an institution to ensure that girls are fully supported to lead in STEM for sustainability?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm told to mention my institution again, so I'll mention.
Your full name, your institution.
So my name is Solomon Kojo Hagan. I work with the Environmental Protection Authority. I believe with the question you asked, I would have loved if Doc was here, Dr. Patrick, so that we could have both combined our heads together to put down the commitment so well.
Okay, so you can defer.
So I wouldn't defer, but I think so with EPA. One thing I know is that in one way or the other, we help in terms of this training and this collaborative efforts that ELL is championing. So I believe in commitment with consultation with the rightful authorities, we should be able to at least support some initiative that will be embarked. What I'm trying to say is probably financially and also in terms of capacity building wise. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I love to hear that one. It sounds good.
So I'm Dr. Adam Adobiwoye, and I'm a senior lecturer at the Enugu State University of Science and Technology, Nigeria. And I came for this conference from Nigeria. So the commitment I want to make
A clap.
is that I will go back to my country and talk to my fellow researchers to look into the extent to which environmental education has promoted STEM among the girl child in Africa. Maybe we can do Nigeria and Ghana.
Ghana. Okay. Then we'll serve jollof as the refreshment.
Probably.
Okay. Thank you, Doc.
Well, mine wouldn't be, let's say, a new commitment, but reaffirming the commitment.
Okay.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, as part of our project implementation under the roadmap, also already mentioned Samak and Salam, currently also acting as a signals person for the climate change unit of the Forestry Commission.
Forestry Commission. Okay.
Yeah. So, as part of project implementation, we specifically make it gender responsive. And in doing so, we ensure we encourage the communities or consult the communities that when benefits come, and we mostly deal with results-based payments. So when these benefits come in, how they train the youth, the community, or create hub so that we can get through mentorships, through scholarships, and all that to encourage them to continue in that direction. So this is something that so I'm just affirming that commitment.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Agbeti. What will
Thank
the
you.
Ghana Union of Technical Students do for us?
So, the name is Gatidela Kofi, the national president for Ghana National Union of Technical Students. So, we are basically for advocacy. That is what we do as a union. And last week, we had the opportunity to meet the Minister for Youth to advocate for our students, specifically for our girl child. That is the student. In fact, my Wukong was the one who stressed on that, and she's even here. And that is what we are going to.
But how do you call university ladies girl child?
So, yes, please. We are looking for our ladies. We are looking for our ladies, how they will be able to get, after the STEM courses that they've taken, after they are out, what next? And he assured us that the ministry is working tirelessly, bringing out programs, and we as union, we are going to intensify our advocacy more and more about the STEM programs for our girls and child, and then our ladies that are in the universities, that when they are out, companies should be able to get them into their companies in order to do whatever they have practiced. Thank you.
Hey, yours, it looks like a political statement than reality for me. Because you yourself, they sit up. Now you're coming to cry for the ladies and then you'll be home. Is that the reality?
Oh, the truth of the matter is that personally, I'm a student, but I have a business plan.
Okay, so that's you. But then what about the other members?
That is why earlier when I was speaking, I said we are union and advocates, and that is what we will have been doing and
Okay, so I'll be looking out for your advocacy because I haven't seen you until this morning. So I'll be looking out for you then. Thank you so much. Open mic. Anybody with a question, recommendation, intervention, what have you? Or a commitment? Yes, my friend.
He's running from commitment.
So I just wanted to make a contribution.
Yeah.
So from the first two questions, so I was sitting down and I thought outside the box. So I think you were all seeing merits based on merits and scholarship implications. So I was thinking, you see, most of us, especially we the students use the authenticity. We are pushed by what we see, especially on social media and on the television. Especially by social media and television. So I was thinking, why don't we, the STEM, why don't we push it to the television and we, the youth, see more of women, more of girls doing more of this science, technology, and stuff. I mean, before you were mentioning, it shouldn't be, what was the word? You were mentioning intentionality instead of, what was the word? Stereotyping. Instead of stereotyping. So why don't you move it to television and then it will be more intentional, more of them seeing what ladies are doing. Like from a very young girl doing something on television, creating something with science, doing something innovational. And so that was my contribution. That was what I wanted to push. So going to the media and then social media.
In fact, pushing it to television will work a lot because remember the adverts saying your girl child or you people like
Madam, are you sure that they watch television? Gen Zs watch television?
TikTok.
No,
They don't watch
TikTok,
television. TikTok.
They should have known that Captain Planet time.
Mm.
They don't know.
Yeah, they are Gen Zs, but do they watch television? That's what I am. So I work on television, but I don't know if we have a very large Gen Z audience. You watch TV?
We don't do GTV, that's why.
Okay, not GTV, okay. Don't worry, we'll bring the tech girls to GTV, you watch. Please, where's the hand? Okay, at the back.
And then there's one in front. Yes, sister.
Thank you. My name is Esther Mausi Sedon Mensah. Actually, I work for Home Health Education Service International. The person who trained me is Pamplona Roja from Spain, Michigan University. And my alma mater is University of Ghana. When Dr. Agri once says something that if you educated a woman, you have educated a nation. And when it comes to STEM or our environment, there are a lot of things that are disturbing our environment. Pollution is one, and also erosion when rain falls. The forest degradation, like deforestation, all those things are disturbing the environment for a girl child. A girl child is like an incubator who is carrying a baby to give birth to. It's like you are planting a tree to germinate, to bear a fruit for everybody. Women are like a tree that bears fruits, because when it comes to farming or our environmental, all the plants that are there for a purpose. God didn't create them just for nothing. Some give medicine to our souls. Some heal us. Some too are very poisonous. So we need to know more. Yeah, so when we educated the girl child with technology, the girl child come out to mold even a car, or a girl child who can learn more about technology, let's say computer, to mold a mobile phone, to mold these things. We have all the trees, we get the ions and other things in our
Because Ghana here we have gold, diamond, bauxite, and everything that
Charlie,
can bring out
management
ions
now.
and other things to
If you
build
don't take
cars
the
and other
microphone,
things.
it
So
will
if we
blow.
train a girl child on trees and other things to come out with knowledge, we can stand boldly as a Ghanaian for the world market, and we will insert in every school to become flying cars.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think there's a policy in the tertiary institutions that you can decide to organize your program, but we decide whether we come or not. And that policy should be one thing we should be looking at. It's very, very important. Some of our young people don't know the importance of some of these programs, and we need to pay key attention to that. And I want to make a contribution to what my brother said, Dr. Samuel. He made mention that this one, I put it to my elder sister, Madam Maltiti. We should see a way the media can have morning shows where they would talk about what the girl child is doing or what the ladies do in STEM education. I think that one will do more. And let's create more podcasts. Let it not be about only the student. I know we have media agencies here that are seated here. When you go on TikTok Live, talk about some of those things because that is where our interest is in now. So let's try and put our interest in those aspects. And I want to conclude by saying that we, the Ghana National Union of Technical Students, are very, very interested in that aspect because we believe that most of the ladies are taking the challenge and proving us. Because they before a lady takes a challenge, she thinks that already you thought I can't do it. So they want to do it and do it well. So I make references to some of the people I have met, and I think that we should have clear evidences that show, and definitely more people will put their interest in what we expect them to do. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a last one there.
Okay.
But that makes two then. Okay. The one and then you.
Just to add to what my brother said, I think with the STEM and the girl child, we should like promote it. Like we should let people inculcate the habit of getting into that, creating content and blogging into that aspect because of the Gen Zs or we the Gen Zs, we are mostly on the social media. If we see content related issues with the STEM and the environment, I think it will help the girl child more and faster than just the television or through schools and all that. Because most people are actually picking up so many things from the social media, the content creators, the bloggers and stuff like that. So we should have bloggers or motivate people to go into girl child, STEM, blogging and related content. I think it will help us so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the name is Kekeli Larry Atidoku. I'm the SLC president for Cambridge University, Ghana, and then the Central Regional Director. Yeah. And then the Central Regional Director for the Private University Students Association of Ghana. So what I have to say is basically most of this girl child that we are talking about, some of them completed school, and then here lies the case, they couldn't get the funding to proceed to the tertiary institutions. As we are advocating for those that are in schools, we should also advocate for those that are in the house. There are some in the rural areas that wouldn't get the chance to be exposed to these opportunities. So if we are speaking about the girl child and then we are going to schools, what about those that are in the community? What are we doing about that? That is one thing that the private university students association, we are also pushing for. We do indulge in with entrepreneurs and then go to these communities, speak to those girl childs, and then find ways to get opportunities for them to come to some of our institutions. My institution per se, I know most people wouldn't know of it because it's an international institution that they are opening branches in African countries. We started not long ago, so we don't have the crowd that much. but we go to the society, speak to these people, find their interests, and then put them in where will be much helpful to them. And I think if other institutions take up these activities and then these actions, it will help rather than only going to the schools. I'm not saying only going to the senior high schools isn't helping, but what about those in the house? What are we doing? Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother. This brings us to the end of this panel. I hope you've picked up a thing or two. Your recommendations will be worked into the policy outcome for this conference. And thank you so much, my panelists, for tolerating my madness. Have a perfect day. And we'll take a group photo and I hand over to the MC.
Thank you so much, Madam Awo-Aiden. Please, let's give them a round of applause. A good one. Our experts have expertly done it. And Dr. Adaobi, who was not on the panel originally, but the only woman standing to join the panel. Thank you so much. But it's true, you know, I'm throwing the challenge to you, the students, and we've all done that. Maybe the next tech blogger may come from you, the next tech TikToker. Look at that, how it rhymes. Like Sako there, tech TikToker. So, you know, because I hardly see content on tech, you know, from Ghana. There's a Nigerian girl who does a lot of AI content. You can see her standing here. Before you see, she's standing inside the sea, among other things. And she's cashing out on TikTok, on Instagram. And so you can be the Ghanaian content creator. There's money online, eh? The money online, you have no idea. So if you're not the TV, radio type, please, maybe create content for others on social media. I see people doing DIY. Now people know how to do frames, picture frames and things. Somebody who didn't go to carpenter school or anything. Their pre-tech was probably bad like mine, but today they are selling picture frames and people are ordering on TikTok, room decor and stuff like that. So now that we're done with our panel and we are at the end of our program today, Bismarck Eshan, who is a conference manager, will come and give us the closing remarks so that we can depart.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you very much, everybody, our guest speakers, our chairman, the representative from the ministries, our moderator, sorry. We are so grateful. And then to our guests as well, you are a special guest. We thank you very much for turning up for our programs. There are a lot of dialogues, there are a lot of discussions that has happened since yesterday. And it is our hope that the discussions and the dialogue wouldn't end here. Please, let's network, let's get numbers, let's take some contacts so that through that, you don't know what may happen, especially with the students, you can get a job out of it. So let's network, get some numbers, take somebody's number, say hello or hi to somebody before you leave. And to our champions who are taking up this work and then working in our communities, local communities, we say bravo, Ayiko, and it's our hope that you continue to champion this cause because it's very important that we educate and then empower our ladies or the girls. Yeah. So just a short remarks. We are so grateful for spending 2 days with us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, Bismarck Eshan, please, round of applause for the organizers. We've had participants from Liberia and Nigeria, so it tells you how important the work of PAC is. We want to do a group photo. Please, let's all come to the front of the stage. And let me give out Dr. Patrick Essie's number for the Shiros. You saw the Shiros boot camp. If you want to go and be part of it, maybe where they are going to, the next region they are going to, 050 986 5106 050 986 5106. He's one of the directors at the EPA, and he's doing a lot of work with the foundation. Please, let's take the group photo in front here. So 1, 2, 3, STEM champions. We are all STEM champions. So let's go. Photograph, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, STEM champions. Again, 1, 2, 3, STEM champions.